Join us on an epic journey as we unravel the remarkable tale of Lu Sheng, a beacon of hope born in poverty, wielding the divine gift of strength to defy destiny and safeguard humanity from its impending reckoning.
He is currently in his dream world, where he can't even beat a single zombie and has to run for his life. Guys, today's like aim is 500 likes. Please like, and each and every one of you watching, press the subscribe button at the same time, or Lu Sheng will come to your dreams. Lu Sheng wakes up. It's a world of martial arts where strength is everything. A thunderous voice wakes him by his name, Lu Sheng. It's his teacher who was always shouting at him for slacking off and reminded him about his bad stats. A world where health status and blood cultivation level is everything. Lu Sheng. Health stats are bad. To qualify as a laborer, you require a health status of 0.8. Lu Sheng health status is 0.7. Lu Sheng has become a laughingstock among his peers. As Lu Sheng wakes up, his friend, Lu Qiming, asks him about his bad dreams. Due to his dreams, his health status has fallen to 0.68. Lu Sheng was so depressed. To cheer him up, Lu Qiming invites him for a free round of online gaming and snacks. All Lu Sheng could think of was his graduation, which was only 200 days away. Already depressed, he decides to head home. On his way to home, he sees a poster showing martial artist fighting monster. It reminds Lu Sheng what the head teacher often told in his speech.
You were born in a turbulent era, and you must shoulder the responsibilities of this era. You are practicing martial arts for the rise of mankind, each of you is the fire of martial arts. Since more than 300 years ago, the world underwent drastic changes, a crack appeared in the sky and the earth, and a large number of grotesque and terrifying monsters spewed out. The development track of this world has completely changed. After most of the thermal weapons lost their effectiveness against monsters, humans began to look for new ways and means to defend themselves. Perhaps because of the appearance of monsters, facing the tremendous pressure of genocide, a certain gene lock in the human body is broken, and individual strength can easily climb to a height that was unimaginable before. So martial arts began to shine. Martial arts develop rapidly and change with each passing day. It has been developed until now, and it has become a social trend for the whole people to practice martial arts and practice hard. But even so, humans are still at an absolute disadvantage on the battlefield of competing with monsters for living space. There are news of towns falling almost every day, and the human population continues to drop sharply.
As he reaches home, he sees his father Lu Hai lying on sofa with his upper body bare, and his mother Zheng Yufin searching for suitable spot for pain relief plaster. Unable to afford blood circulation apparatus which can heal his father faster. In this world where only the powerful gets rich and only rich can afford expensive potions, it's a vicious circle. Even in pain, his parents were worried about his health and nutrition. They have bought 2 bottles of new health recovery potions which cost more than $20,000. Already feeling ashamed and depressed, that's when his parents mentions his younger sister, who is the star of the family, already cultivated health status to 0.9, way more than Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng runs to his room with tail between his legs. This is Lu Sheng's martial arts training room and rest room. Lu Sheng took off his coat and sat down on the yoga mat. Starts high. His daily routine of 24 forms of martial arts body training promoted by the World Martial Arts League are said to be created by the masters of the Martial Arts League based on ancient yoga, ancient martial arts, and ancient jiu-jitsu. They are most suitable for laying the foundation for martial arts beginners. The version I am practicing now is already the 13th version after revision and correction, and the effect is several times better than the first version of the first generation. Lu Sheng stopped his physical movements, sat on the yoga mat, and slowly adjusted his breathing. He did the 24 movements of body training 3 times in one breath. A thin layer of sweat broke out on his body, and his originally pale face became a little more flushed. Lu Sheng thinks if you don't have nightmares anymore, you should be able to make up for the lack of health status in a week. So far, Lu Sheng has not found the reason for his nightmare. Lu Sheng was resting while thinking wildly. He thinks there are generally 4 causes of nightmares: sleeping position, diet, disease, and spirit. The first 3 factors can be ruled out. Is it possible that it is caused by the high psychological pressure is due to nearing of college entrance examination? Lu Sheng could not confirm. It stands to reason that a person like him who has gone through 2 college entrance examinations should have a much better psychological endurance than normal people. Thinking about it, sleepiness slowly came up like a tide. Lu Sheng yawned unconsciously, his eyelids drooped, his body slowly lay down, and he gradually fell asleep. As he opens his eyes, he sees the first in front of him. It's this nightmare again. The sky is leaden gray, the earth is black, and there is a trace of gray mist everywhere. He was depressed, desperate, desolate. Lu Sheng was completely helpless. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Lu Sheng grabbed the flesh on his arms and face, trying to wake himself up from the dream, but it was of no avail. Until a certain point in time, he will remain in this nightmare. There was a strange sound in my ear, as if someone was stuck in the throat, accompanied by rustling mopping. Coming, Lu Sheng wailed in his heart. Soon, the gray fog not far to his left dissipated, and a tall, stiff figure appeared in front of his eyes. The skin color of the humanoid is gray, the eye sockets are sunken, and there are no eyeballs, only a pair of holes. There is a long gap in the face, and the gray-white face bones and black flesh and blood can be clearly seen. The figure is stiff and slow, wearing a onesie that resembles the victory uniform, but is already dirty, with dirt everywhere. It was almost exactly the same as the zombies Lu Sheng had seen in the movies. Run? Was first reaction in Lu Sheng's mind, as the jumpsuit zombie was very slow and couldn't catch up with him. He's done this before. Lu Sheng gradually lost consciousness while running away, and then woke up in present time. But this time, Lu Sheng changed his mind. He stopped running, stood his ground, thinking, although my grades in school are not good, my blood value is still 0.68. Whether it is strength or speed, it exceeds the standard of a normal adult male. Are you afraid of a mere zombie? Anyway, it's a dream. It doesn't matter if you get bitten. Maybe you can wake up faster if you die in the dream. Thinking about it, Lu Sheng took the initiative to stride towards the one-piece zombie. According to the standards of the World Martial Arts League, the health standard of a first-level warrior is 1.5, and the combat power is 150. Now, Lu Sheng can almost be regarded as half a formal warrior. Although Lu Sheng's actual combat class results are very poor, and he only knows a few simple fighting skills, but it does not affect his current momentum in the slightest. Fengshen legs. Lu Sheng shouted the name of the moves he had read in the novels of his previous life. After a run-up, he kicked hard on the tall zombie's chest. The tall zombie took a few steps back. Its clumsy body was unable to stand under such a huge impact, and fell on its back to the ground. With this kick, Lu Sheng's confidence instantly increased. Seeing the tall zombie in a jumpsuit struggling and trying to the weakness of the zombies in the movie is in the head, so it should be fine. Lu Sheng muttered in his mouth, and exerted a lot of force on his hand. Crack! The crisp sound of the bridge of the nose breaking. Lu Sheng punctured the tall zombie with the rock. The tall zombie's body twitched twice, and then completely remained silent. Nailed it. Lu Sheng confirmed that the tall zombie was completely dead, so he sat down, gasping for air. I have to say, this dream is really real enough. Lu Sheng could even feel the sound of his heart beating violently. Still awake, Lu Sheng muttered, and was about to stand up. At this moment, he saw that the tall zombie in front of him collapsed like gravel, and quickly weathered and disappeared in just a few seconds. And there were strands of black smoke steaming from the weathered corpse of the tall zombie, rushing fiercely into Lu Sheng's chest like an arrow. Ah! Lu Sheng was taken aback, and before he had time to react, he felt a wave of heat emanating from his chest, accompanied by a large number of small memories flashing across his mind quickly like a movie scene. The protagonist is a tall and handsome teenager. The first half of the movie seems dull and boring. Basically, it is a scene of young people's hard training. The second half gets heavy. One battle after another. Every battle is accompanied by blood and death. The companions around the boy decreased one by one. The sky is always gray, and sadness and pain fill every inch of memory. In the end, the picture was frozen on the broken city wall, and the terrifying beasts and large swaths of black fog swept over the sky. Even Lu Sheng couldn't help being moved by the desperation and depression before the world was about to be engulfed by darkness. Lu Sheng slowly opened his eyes, which were filled with deep sadness. He seemed to be watching a long movie. What did this guy go through before his death? Lu Sheng murmured. There is no doubt that the memory he just accepted should be the memory of the tall zombie he killed before his death. And this memory is like a doomsday disaster movie. Many doubts arose in Lu Sheng's heart, but it was a pity that one was around to answer them. Lu Sheng picked up his mood and started walking in the wilderness. Soon, several wandering zombies appeared before Lu Sheng's eyes. Lu Sheng rushed forward and twisted his arms, breaking the opponent's neck neatly. Seeing the zombie's head rolling to his feet like a broken ball, Lu Sheng was stunned for a moment. He looked at his hands in disbelief, and thought, when did I become so strong? Lu Sheng recalled his series of actions just now. It seems that it has been used countless times in actual combat, and it has almost become instinctive, and it is used subconsciously. That kind of precision and ruthlessness is a realm that he never dared to imagine before. All he deduced was the memories of the combatant zombies was responsible for this advanced fighting skills and techniques. Lu Sheng could not help sighing, how easy it is to gain the experience of others' lifetime. Now he has completely regarded this dream as a puzzle plus upgrade game. Hunting zombies the wilderness can provide him with experience to level up and clues to the next step. Lu Sheng slowly opened his eyes. Bang bang bang, bang bang bang. With this sound, everything around Lu Sheng became illusory and unstable. Lu Sheng was woken up by a loud banging on the door. He tried to open his eyes and slowly sat up from the yoga mat. Then I heard a clear and indifferent female voice coming from outside the door. It's time to eat. How long will you stay in the room? It was the voice of younger sister Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng has always looked down on his big brother. Lu Sheng is going to be 18 this year, and his blood value has dropped to 0.78 in the past few days. His combat index and actual combat class results are in a mess. But Lu Sheng is different. As he has just turned 16 this year, and her health status and blood value has already exceeded 1.0 in the last test, and his combat effectiveness index has exceeded 100. As he is also quite talented in actual combat. Currently studying in the genius class of Baihei Middle School, the best in Baihei City. If this trend continues, she will be eligible for admission to Wuhan universities in 2 years. To sum it up in one sentence, Lu Sheng is a genius. A cliché combination of a mediocre big brother and a genius sister. Although the Lu family did not prefer any child because of differences in martial arts talents, Lu Sheng felt that this was the reason why Lu Sheng had a bad relationship with him all the time. Perhaps in Lu Sheng's heart, without the burden of his mediocre big brother, she who can get all the resources of the whole family can rush to a higher level now. Understood, coming right away. At this time, Lu Sheng also regained consciousness, and he obviously realized that he had just experienced another nightmare. Lu Sheng was a little surprised. He did not feel tired or sleepy, he felt very energetic. He tried to recall everything he experienced in the dream. After a while, Lu Sheng was shocked. He remembers everything clearly. The various fighting skills he inherited are still firmly engraved in my muscle memory, even. Lu Sheng waved his fist against the air. Even the strength seems to have grown a bit. This is especially incredible. His increase in physical fitness must be the result of the increase in health status and blood. Lu Sheng felt that his strength had increased. Lu Sheng to eat first, and after dinner, going to a martial arts gym to test his health standard and combative effectiveness. Lu Sheng put his head down and stuffed his mouth with big mouthfuls of food, like someone who has been hungry for days. When he picked up the cleaned empty bowl and handed it to his mother Zhang Yufan asking for another bowl, he suddenly found that the 3 people at the dinner table looked at him with strange eyes. Only then did Lu Sheng realize. The amount of food he eat today seems to be exaggerated. He tried to make an excuse by saying, forget it, I am full. As not to put extra burden on limited resources. But his dad snatched the bowl and said to his wife, "What's the matter? It's normal for kids to ask for seconds if they are hungry?" And told her to steam a pot of rice and fry 2 more dishes. Mom answered and got up to go. His dad looked quite happy. He looked at Lu Sheng with a smile and said, "It's like this when boys are developing. They do not feel full after eating. I will buy some supplements tomorrow. The puberty period is a good time to increase vitality. Do not waste it." Lu Sheng nodded. Lu Sheng next to him stuffed a piece of braised pork into his mouth, making a disdainful sound while chewing. Lu Dahoi glared at her and said, "Do not beat your brother up all the time. It's a good thing to be able to raise a little bit. Those who graduated from Wuhan University with a bachelor's degree and those who graduated from a junior college are completely treated differently." Lu Sheng pouted, but said nothing. Lu Sheng remained silent. He was taken aback as he ate 7 bowls of rice and still did not feel full. Remembered, Lu King usually only eats 5 bowls of rice. And Lu King's health standard and blood value was more than 1 way higher than that of Lu Sheng, and she had always eaten twice as much as Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng thought perhaps the blood value has really increased. He could not wait to test his current values in all aspects. He found the location of the nearest martial art gym and decided to head out for Honchan Dojo. The appearance of this martial arts gym is not big, and the decoration is neither good nor bad. It can be regarded as a very ordinary private martial arts gym. The owner of the hall, Ni Hongchan, is a 4th-level martial artist. He is good at family boxing. He once won the top 10 of the 23rd Baihei City Martial Arts Exchange. There was an enrollment advertisement posted at the entrance of the martial arts hall, and Lu Sheng read it out. The words Level 4 Warrior on the advertisement caught Lu Sheng's attention. According to the standards issued by the World Martial Arts League, a warrior with a peak blood value of more than 200 and a combat power index of more than 100,000 can be called Level 4. The blood value is equivalent to more than 200 of me, and the combat power index is more than 100 times that of mine. Lu Sheng roughly imagined that realm in his mind, and the result he got was very exaggerated. The higher the level of martial arts, the greater the gap between the next level. A 4th-level warrior, even in the entire Baihei City, can be regarded as a master, a figure with a head and a face. From this point of view, this martial arts school still has some foundations. But this has nothing to do with Lu Sheng. The fee standard in the admissions advertisement was simply not something he could afford. For a martial arts student from an ordinary family like him, it is already very difficult to maintain the supplements needed for daily martial arts practice, let alone enroll in extracurricular classes to learn boxing techniques to improve actual combat skills. That is the treatment that only children from wealthy families are entitled to. For children from ordinary families, it is enough to lay a solid foundation and work hard to improve the blood value. If Lu King has an idea, the family may give her the money. Forget it. Besides, there is a way to absorb the memory of zombie martial arts in dreams, and I do not really need such tutoring. Thinking about it, Lu Sheng strode into the Honchan Martial Arts Hall. There is a reception desk at the entrance of the martial arts hall. The person in charge of the reception desk is a girl in her 20s, who looks quite beautiful. Seeing Lu Sheng, the girl quickly put on a professional smile and greeted him. Is this classmate here to enroll in the martial arts improvement class in our martial arts school? Lu Sheng shook his head. Let me test the blood value and combat power. General martial arts gyms will provide similar testing services. The test results are almost the same as those in schools, and the cost is not high. The girl at the front desk glanced at the school uniform Lu Sheng was wearing, nodded, and said, "Okay, wait a minute." With her eyesight, she can naturally see that Lu Sheng is the kind of child from an ordinary family, and there is no need to waste words on him. Go along the corridor to room number 8. There is a test machine in it. Can you operate it? Do you need me to find someone to help you? The attitude of the girl at the front desk was not bad, and she did not mean to look down on Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng said he could, then took the rental car given by the girl at the front desk, and followed her guidance to find a special testing room. The instrument for testing blood is somewhat similar to a printer. There is a small groove at the lower end, and a disposable sterile sampling needle is placed next to it. Lu Sheng opened the sampling needle, took a little blood from the tip of his left middle finger, and put it in the groove of the instrument. A light blue light fell on the dark red blood, and then the instrument made a soft beep sound, and a value jumped out on the LCD screen of the blood tester. 0.963. The blood value is accurate to 3 decimal places. When Lu Sheng saw this value, although he had expected it in his heart, he could not help but clench his fists. The blood value has really increased. And the increase is not small. It has increased by 0.18, nearly 0.2. And this was just the result of him hunting and killing 3 zombies in his dream. Facts have proved that everything I got in that dream can indeed be brought into reality. This is no longer a simple game of killing monsters and upgrading, but real practice. Lu Sheng held back his agitated heart. No one would be willing to be mediocre, let alone him who has been mediocre all his life. Now that he finally saw the dawn of being able to shine in martial arts, how could he not be excited and happy? Test the combat power index again. The equipment used to test combat effectiveness is much larger, as tall as a person, and in the middle of the equipment is a groove filled with cushions. When testing, just punch hard into the groove. The memory of the one-piece suit zombie has the technique of punching strength. Try it. Lu Sheng did not know the strength of the two jumpsuit zombies he killed, but they were definitely stronger than him now. And the skills and experience accumulated by the two through many penances and battles during their lifetimes are undoubtedly even more treasures for him now. Lu Sheng took a deep breath, and the muscles of his right arm followed the skill trajectory in memory, and punched the force gauge hard. Boom! A number popped up on the force gauge. 113. Combat power 113. It has already exceeded the standard combat power index represented by his blood value of 0.96. This should be the bonus brought by the skill. Then Lu Sheng tested the left arm punch again. The value was a little less than the right arm, but it was more than 100. After several tests, Lu Sheng finally withdrew his fist contentedly. Last year, the top score for Baihei City's martial arts undergraduate course was 1.05 for vitality and 105 for combat power. In other words, he have almost reached the standard of the undergraduate line now. Even if he cannot train in dreams again, he will be able to enter any Baihei martial arts university after the college entrance examination.
It's only 9 o'clock. And Lu Sheng was brimming with energy, and he could not sleep, so he decided to do some exercise before heading to bed. Scientific research shows that the health standard of the human body is not constant. It peaks after vigorously exercise, or taking supplements. And when you are resting, or sick or injured, and the blood standard slides to the bottom. Lu Sheng decided to do the 24 body exercises that he called the 13th set of radio gymnastics. He began to practice on the yoga mat following the 24 exercises that he had done countless times. But Lu Sheng felt something was wrong. And he stopped his movement suddenly, with a strange look on his face. He has been practicing the same exercises since elementary school. After 8 years of practice, it has almost become a body instinct, and he can perform the movements with his eyes closed. But he felt that he had subconsciously performed another set of movements. And this set of moves was something he had never learned before. Lu Sheng quickly understood that he absorbed the martial arts memories of the two zombies. In addition to their fighting skills and experience, he also inherited their training memories. And he just practiced the body training technique of the two zombies. When Lu Sheng performed a movement, a certain part of his body felt a tingling sensation like an electric shock. This feeling was very strange, as if there was a scalding hot current flowing in his body. He was so comfortable that he almost groaned. He remembered the feeling as it happened to him once before when he first practiced the 24 postures. Many years back, this is the second time. Lu Sheng seemed to have discovered the new world all at once. He began to concentrate on practicing this body training technique. As if there is a second person in the room at this time, you will see that Lu Sheng's body is constantly twisting and making strange movements one after another. During this process, Lu Sheng's body continued to tremble slightly. His body temperature continued to rise, a large amount of white air evaporated from the surface of his body, and the sweat that flowed down almost wet the yoga mat under him. Lu Sheng's blood value has increased again. Which was unbelievable. All of these are just the effects of the body training technique he just practiced. He was able to increase his health standards again. Lu Sheng didn't know what the breathing method and body training technique that the zombie had practiced before his death, but he was sure that Lu Sheng just subconsciously used a wonderful breathing method and body exercise method when practicing body training. The combination of the two has such a terrifying effect, which is 100 times better than previous 24 exercises jointly known as creator of the Masters of the World Martial Arts League. The real treasure of the dream. His biggest advantage is that no matter how complicated the practice methods and skills he got in his dreams, he can use them smoothly without any barriers due to the bonus of the practitioner's previous memory. This directly saved Lu Sheng a lot of time and energy. Lu Sheng finally made the last move. The whole person fell apart on the yoga mat completely like a frame. But he felt that his condition was unprecedentedly good. His whole body seemed to have undergone a deep massage from the inside out, as if he could hear the muscle cells all over his body cheering and singing. A strong sense of hunger came from Lu Sheng's brain. He thought, how long has it been since he had dinner? The empty stomach kept reminding him that his body was in urgent need of energy. Lots of energy. And there is only one reason for this. Lu Sheng clenched his fist hard, his eyes burning. Fortunately, there was bread and fruit in the refrigerator, which, barely filling his stomach. Then he went back to room and continued to practice the mysterious body training technique that contains 268 movements. Lu Sheng did this exercise 4 times in a row, and he was almost obsessed with the pleasure of clearly perceiving the growth of his own strength. At the end of the practice, Lu Sheng was so exhausted that he found it difficult to even move his little finger. Locker room buzzed with anticipation as Lu Sheng and Lu Qiming hurriedly dressed. Lu Qiming couldn't contain his relief that their instructor had skipped paper checks today, but beneath his facade of relief lurked a fear of the impending duel exercise, where their lack of physical fitness might be exposed. Meanwhile, Lu Sheng exuded a quiet confidence, a silent acknowledgement of his newfound strength and prowess. Lu Qiming's eyes widened in disbelief as he caught sight of Lu Sheng's rippling muscles. It had been mere days since they last met, yet the transformation was staggering. Even Lu Sheng himself couldn't deny the remarkable change, noting with amusement that even his hair seemed to have grown in tandem with his muscles, prompting a mental note to schedule a trim. Little did he know, Lu Qiming was already concocting theories about Lu Sheng's intentions, convinced that he was gearing up to flaunt his newfound strength during the practical combat lesson. Amidst the chatter and rustling of clothes, Lu Sheng's thoughts raced. This was his moment to measure his progress against his peers, to see just how far he had come. In the midst of the circle, their practical combat instructor, Zhang Zhenguo, stood, unraveling the intricacies of combat techniques they had previously discussed in class. His authoritative voice filled the room as he demonstrated each move with precision and grace. Beside him, Lu Qiming leaned in towards Lu Sheng, his voice hushed as he whispered about their instructor's impressive credentials. "Did you know," he murmured, "that Instructor Zhang is a rank 2 martial artist? Those scars on his hands? They're from battles against monsters in the field." Lu Sheng nodded, absorbing the information as he silently contemplated the depth of his own progress. The techniques he had mastered and the experiences he had gained led him to believe that Instructor Zhang's approach was somewhat simplistic and ripe for refinement. As if on cue, Instructor Zhang called upon the class's top student, Yang Yifei, to demonstrate the techniques they had just discussed. The air crackled with anticipation as all eyes turned towards Yifei, eager to witness his mastery in action. As Yifei stepped into the spotlight, a wave of admiration swept through the classroom, particularly among the girls. Their eyes sparkled with admiration as they whispered amongst themselves about his striking appearance and impressive skills. Thoughts of infatuation danced in their minds as they giggled and exchanged knowing glances, unable to resist his charm and allure. Meanwhile, Lu Qiming couldn't help but feel a pang of bitterness as he observed Yifei's effortless grace and prowess. The unfairness of the world weighed heavily on him, knowing that Yifei not only possessed wealth but also had access to the finest resources for martial arts development. The thought gnawed at him, fueling a sense of resentment and envy. As the duel commenced between Yifei and the instructor, the rest of the students watched in awe and dismay. Their minds raced with questions of how Yifei could possibly improve upon such perfection. Yet amidst the collective wonder, Lu Sheng remained singularly focused. His only desire was to pit his own strength and progress against the very best in the class. Uncertainty gnawed at him as he wondered whether he would emerge victorious or be defeated by Yifei's formidable skill. The instructor is advising Yifei on how to improve his technique by focusing on balance, and next, he will be asking other students to practice with him. Yifei, egoistic and full of himself, thinks, "What does this martial artist think of himself trying to advise me and telling me what to do? He is nothing, and I have a bright future. He can only be an instructor at this small school." Now, the instructor is looking for a volunteer to duel with Yifei. But everyone else is afraid, lacking the strength or capability to face him. Even Lu Qiming is scared and avoids eye contact with the instructor, fearing being selected for the fight. The instructor feels ashamed as not a single student is willing to duel due to the vast difference in strength. Amidst the fear and trembling knees of the others, the instructor notices Lu Sheng boldly looking into his eyes, eagerly awaiting an opportunity to challenge Yifei and test his abilities. For a moment, even the instructor is shocked by the confidence brimming in Lu Sheng, unprecedented in the class until now. But today, Lu Sheng is determined to confront Yifei, having had enough. No one in the class supports Lu Sheng, fearing the inevitable defeat by Yifei. They worry he might end up injured or hospitalized. Even the instructor doubts if Lu Sheng can handle Yifei, despite sensing confidence in him. Lu Sheng and Yifei assume stances, preparing to fight. Yifei makes the first move, attempting to punch Lu Sheng in the face. However, Lu Sheng sees the punch in slow motion, easily dodging it and countering with a powerful punch that sends Yifei flying 10 feet into the crowd. Everyone, including the instructor, is shocked by the outcome. Lu Sheng remains composed, not breaking a sweat. Yifei is taken to the infirmary on a stretcher. Lu Sheng is shocked and a bit afraid, fearing he may have seriously injured Yifei. He apologizes, but the instructor is not worried about Yifei's condition. Instead, he wants to speak with Lu Sheng privately, amazed by his skill. He sees Lu Sheng as a prodigy and wants to ensure he doesn't lose him over a minor incident. The entire class is in disbelief, unable to comprehend how Lu Sheng, once considered a loser, could defeat Yifei so decisively. Just days ago, Lu Sheng had been mocked for his failures, having even failed the entrance exam twice. Lu Sheng strode out of the gym, his imposing figure casting a long shadow behind him as if to challenge anyone to catch up with his strength. Upon entering the instructor's cabin, Lu Sheng noticed a meticulously maintained bonsai tree positioned behind a combat strength measuring dummy. He mused to himself about the instructor's hobby of nurturing such beautiful plants. However, his thoughts were interrupted when the instructor confronted him, questioning if Lu Sheng had used prohibited drugs to boost his vitality. The instructor warned of dire consequences, including permanent suspension and exclusion from joining the army, if such substances were found in his system. To assess Lu Sheng's vitality, the instructor utilized a device that measured one's health standard. Shockingly, the result showed a vitality level of 1.532, marking Lu Sheng as a genius martial artist at just 18 years old, far exceeding the instructor's expectations. Next, it was time to test Lu Sheng's combat strength. Taking his stance before the mechanical dummy, Lu Sheng delivered a powerful blow that shattered the machine's head, sending it flying into the wall and destroying the bonsai in the process. The instructor was left stunned, with tears in his eyes, witnessing such incredible strength from a young student. As the instructor struggled to comprehend Lu Sheng's rapid growth, the latter revealed that he hailed from a normal family and had no ties to noble clans or grandmasters. The reason behind his phenomenal progress remained a secret. Reflecting on his own experiences during wartime, the instructor recognized the rare individuals capable of facing and defeating monsters with unimaginable strength, sensing that Lu Sheng might be one of them. After digesting the shocking revelations, the instructor offered Lu Sheng a promotion to the elite class, promising the best guidance from top instructors in the school. However, Lu Sheng expressed a preference for independent training and requested financial support and a flexible timetable. Understanding his needs, the instructor arranged for a special scholarship grant for 3,000 yuan, which will take 2 to 3 days for approval, and provided a temporary financial aid black card containing 100,000 yuan until the approval process was complete. Upon receiving the financial assistance, Lu Sheng was surprised by the generous amount on the card, realizing the instructor's confidence in his abilities. The instructor emphasized the importance of balancing studies with training to enhance the Baihei school's reputation in Baihei City. After changing his clothes, Lu Sheng went back to the classroom with one thought on his mind. He thought about how having just him or only his younger sister, Lu Qing, in their family would make things easier for their parents. Lu Qing was talented and could easily get into Wuhan University, getting scholarships and subsidies. Recently, Lu Sheng had been thinking about making money. On one hand, he wanted to ease the burden on his family so his parents wouldn't have to work so hard. On the other hand, his martial arts training required a lot of money to support it. For example, Lu Sheng's basic meals weren't enough to provide the nutrients he needed to improve his martial arts skills. If he didn't eat better, his progress would slow down, and he might even get sick. Lu Sheng used to think that becoming a first-level official warrior would be a good way to make money. That way, he could get a monthly allowance from the Vumang and use it to buy things to help him train better. With his new methods, Lu Sheng didn't just improve his martial arts skills, but also his performance in class. He listened carefully to the teacher's lectures and found that his brain had become much more flexible since he started practicing regularly. Lu Sheng guessed that he was absorbing a lot of memories in his dreams, and this process was stimulating his brain's development. As a result, his memory, brain speed, and other abilities were improving, making him smarter. Talking about fantasy, it helped him understand things better. Now, studying textbook knowledge felt easy for Lu Sheng. He could understand concepts that he struggled with before, and he felt like a student master because of it. A scholarship was coming his way, and Lu Sheng already had a black credit card. He couldn't wait to head to the mall and plan how to use the money. It wasn't just about wanting to splurge, he was eager to boost his strength. Lately, as he continued his body training and breathing exercises, Lu Sheng felt a constant hunger in his body. This signaled rapid growth in his energy and blood, but his system lacked enough nourishment. Every muscle cell in his body craved energy. Although his father had bought him a tonic last week, it wasn't enough to satisfy his body's needs. If this malnutrition continued, it could cause permanent damage and even weaken his strength. Martial arts training tapped into the body's potential, But without proper replenishment, it could harm him. To supplement his energy, Lu Sheng needed to consume a lot of external sources, such as food and medicine. While food provided some energy, medicinal supplements were more effective because they contained rich nutrients. However, these medicines were expensive, so the saying poor culture and rich military wasn't just a phrase, it reflected the reality of martial arts training. In Baihei City's central shopping mall, there's a store called Wu Yao Tang that specializes in health supplements, Lu Sheng thought to himself. However, the prices of these oral supplements made him frown. The nourishing blood powder my father bought last week cost 3,000 yuan per pair. It's the most common tonic. There's also Peikshu powder, Zhuanggu powder, Yang Yuan powder. Each one is pricier than the last. The most expensive Yang Yuan powder costs 15,000 yuan per pair, which is outrageous. Lu Sheng initially thought he had a decent amount of money, but now he realized it wasn't enough at all. Even with a 30,000 yuan, he could only afford 10 sets of Yangshu powder or 2 sets of Yang Yuan powder. If he had applied for a first-class scholarship of 10,000 yuan as planned, he wouldn't even be able to afford a single pair of Yang Yuan powder. Martial arts practice costs a fortune. Lu Sheng realized this only now, seeing the expenses behind those successful martial arts students like Yang Yifei in school. Being from an ordinary family like him and Lu Qiming, they couldn't compare with those who had more resources. In this era of martial arts, it's incredibly challenging for someone from a poor family to excel. Lu Sheng also understood the heavy burden on his parents. Reflecting on his sister Lu Qing's talent, he thought, Lu Qing's idea is right. With her martial arts talent, if she hadn't been held back by an average brother like me, her achievements would be much higher. It felt like a wasted opportunity for Lu Sheng. If their father, Lu Dahai, provided 2 sets of nourishing blood powder each month to both Lu Sheng and Lu Qing, the family limit, it would be obvious that allocating all 4 to Lu Qing alone would yield better results. This realization fueled Lu Sheng's determination to make money. He knew he needed to work harder, not just for his own progress, but also for his sister's martial arts journey. Lu Sheng didn't linger any longer and left them all. Walking home after a day of intense training was a good way for him to unwind. As he walked, he passed by high school students in uniforms, heading excitedly to the nearby internet cafe. Seeing them stirred something in Lu Sheng's heart. Not long ago, he was just like them, spending his days aimlessly at school and then at the internet cafe. It felt like living in a haze, lacking direction or motivation. But now, he emerged from that haze with a clear mind, knowing exactly what he wanted and where he was headed. Do you regret it? He asked himself quietly. I don't regret it, came his firm reply. Despite giving up some fleeting happiness, he felt more fulfilled and satisfied now. Suddenly, various boxing memories flooded Lu Sheng's mind, like pieces of a puzzle falling into place. It felt like something inside him had clicked, like a breakthrough. He realized that the barriers he faced in his boxing techniques were shattered, and his understanding of the art reached new heights. It was a transformative moment, like shedding old skin and embracing something new. Lu Sheng felt confident that he could master any boxing technique and adapt it to different situations. He felt integrated and whole. That's probably what it means, Lu Sheng thought to himself. He remembered his teacher mentioning in class that powerful martial artists often experience profound insights in certain environments and moods, leading to significant transformations in their skills. It's called an epiphany in martial arts. But whether Lu Sheng had just experienced one, he couldn't say for sure. What mattered most to him was that his strength needed to improve further. He realized that if he were to fight his previous self, the current version would likely win within just a few moves. That's the difference his enhanced boxing skills had made. Despite the urge to rush to the Hongqian Martial Arts Hall for another test, Lu Sheng restrained himself. He understood that the strength he possessed wouldn't change just because of more tests. It was something innate, and avoiding a test wouldn't make it disappear. Despite the distance between the central shopping mall and his community, Lu Sheng opted to walk home instead of taking a bus. After finishing his meal, Lu Sheng said, I'm going back to my room. He put down his bowl and chopsticks, calmly greeted his family members, and then headed to his room. Concerned about Lu Sheng's unusual behavior, his mother Zheng Yufan remarked, What's wrong with Lu Sheng today? Is he feeling unwell? She noticed that he had eaten half a bowl of rice less than yesterday. Lu Qing shook her head in disbelief, then excused herself, saying, Mom and Dad, I'm going back to my room to exercise. With the recent changes in Lu Sheng's life, Lu Qing felt a sense of unease in her heart, prompting her to intensify her practice routine. Lu Dahai comforted his wife, saying, Our child is growing up, showing responsibility, and focusing on studies. This is a good sign, we shouldn't worry. Concerned about her husband's well-being, Zhang Yufan asked, "You went to do casual work again? Didn't you complain of back pain yesterday? Can your body handle it?" Unfazed, Lu Dahai replied, "It's okay. Just put on 2 plasters for me later." Listening to his parents' conversation from his room, Lu Sheng took a deep breath and tried to calm down. His heightened senses enabled him to hear their voices clearly even through closed doors. Feeling a sense of urgency, Lu Sheng did a couple of exercises to clear his mind before slipping into a dreamlike state. He had learned to fall asleep quickly and easily. A bulky zombie immediately noticed Lu Sheng and charged at him with a low growl. Without hesitation, Lu Sheng swiftly moved forward, blocking and punching. In just 2 moves, he snapped the neck of the zombie and tattered clothes before him. A black wisp of smoke emerged and swiftly melded into Lu Sheng's body. Another martial arts practitioner. Lu Sheng breathed out, feeling the rush of absorbed memories. "My strength has definitely increased." The skirmish offered Lu Sheng a clearer grasp of his current prowess. He had encountered this type of bulky zombie before, a different breed from the uniform-clad ones. Their strength varied unpredictably, it's probably on par with a first-class official warrior. Lu Sheng contemplated. Yet, even against this formidable opponent, Lu Sheng emerged victorious within moments. He had been trekking through the misty wilderness for an indeterminate stretch of time, and by his reckoning, he should be nearing base 1359 as per the memories extracted from the zombies. Strange, Lu Sheng mused, I haven't encountered a single alien beast yet. Could they all be holed up in the ruins of the base? Or did they retreat after laying waste to it? Uncertain, Lu Sheng remained cautious. Despite his rapidly improving martial arts skills, the dream world remained a perilous realm, fraught with unknown dangers. He had never experienced death in a dream, and he wasn't keen on finding out the consequences. Continuing his journey, Lu Sheng dispatched several more zombies along the way. Each encounter enriched his martial knowledge, filling in gaps in techniques and bringing him closer to his limits. Meanwhile, his enhanced boxing proficiency steadily ascended to new heights. In the midst of absorbing memories from a defeated zombie, Lu Sheng's gaze abruptly fixated ahead. The mist parted like a curtain, revealing the silhouette of a grand, dilapidated structure. At last, he breathed, base 1359, here I come. Lu Sheng's heart remained calm but cautious. The memories of base 1359 being overrun by alien beasts weighed heavily on him, reminding him of the imminent danger ahead. After a half-hour dash, Lu Sheng arrived at the foot of the colossal city. Gazing up at its towering walls, he was struck by its sheer magnitude. The city walls reminded him of scenes from an anime, but the reality before him was far more imposing. The city's walls bore scars of massive tears, hinting at the devastation within. Lu Sheng's thoughts turned to the survivors, the state of the world, and the mysteries surrounding his own existence. With each step toward the city, Lu Sheng felt he was edging closer to the answers he sought, eager to uncover the truth that awaited within. Lu Sheng carefully approached a massive gap torn in the city wall, feeling the ominous presence growing stronger with each step. He marveled at the sheer size of the gap, which was easily 7 or 8 meters high. However, his awe turned to terror as he caught sight of a commanding figure seated atop the tallest building in the city center. The overwhelming sense of danger made his scalp tingle, and Lu Sheng felt his knees weaken, collapsing to the ground. The figure exuded an aura of unimaginable strength, leaving Lu Sheng in a state of primal fear. He realized that the zombies he encountered were once formidable masters, their fighting instincts now driving them in the absence of consciousness. This revelation filled Lu Sheng with dread, unable to fathom the level of strength he would need to confront such foes. The master-level zombies sensed Lu Sheng's presence but didn't attack him like the lower-level zombies. Fearful of the consequences, as he had never died in the dream before, Lu Sheng decided to avoid it. He continued walking inside the wall until the scene of the city unfolded before him. Observing the city's infrastructure, Lu Sheng pondered the level of technological advancement, suspecting it far surpassed both his current world and his previous life. In his world, martial arts had only developed over the past 300 years, still in its early stages. Historical records indicated that when martial arts first emerged, the most powerful masters were only at the 5th level. However, in the present time, humans had many 7th-level masters, 8th-level grand masters, and even 9th-level martial arts saints. Despite this advanced civilization, they were still succumbing to the onslaught of alien beasts, prompting Lu Sheng to wonder about their own fate. Lu Sheng felt a sudden wave of concern. Despite the advancements in martial arts and the emergence of powerful experts in his world, humanity was still locked in a struggle against alien beasts, facing constant pressure and dwindling living space. However, amidst the bleak reality, Lu Sheng saw an opportunity. He realized that this world's failure didn't necessarily mean his world would meet the same fate. By absorbing memories, techniques, and scientific advancements from this advanced civilization, he could potentially make a difference in his own world's fight against the alien threat. His eyes regained their determination as he shouldered this heavy responsibility. The ruins of this devastated civilization had profoundly impacted Lu Sheng, prompting a shift in his mindset. While the city walls teemed with zombies, most were relatively weak, with only a few advanced monsters lurking within. Lu Sheng stumbled upon a house and entered, only to find it deserted. In the living room, a table stood in the center, adorned with scattered tableware. Lu Sheng couldn't help but imagine the family that once dined there, abruptly interrupted by the apocalypse. A sense of melancholy washed over him. Not a single zombie roamed the premises, leading Lu Sheng to speculate that the occupants may have perished due to their frailty, perhaps not even meeting the criteria for zombification. Determined to uncover more about this world, Lu Sheng searched for records. However, the advanced civilization had long forsaken traditional books for more sophisticated means, leaving him empty-handed. Finally, he discovered a palm-sized, lead-gray disc on the desk, less than half a centimeter thick, bearing faint inscriptions. Suddenly, a softy sound resonated, followed by the disc emitting a faint blue light. The once dusty and lifeless room seemed to stir with vitality in the presence of this azure glow. "Welcome to use, Tianheng technology." A gentle female voice emanated from the disc as the blue light coalesced into the form of a female silhouette. "It's really working," Lu Sheng exclaimed, excitement coursing through him. But amidst his astonishment, a revelation struck him. He recognized these characters. Parallel world? Or is there some connection between the two? He mused, his eyes gleaming with newfound understanding. Eager to learn more about this world, Lu Sheng addressed the hologram, "Please, retrieve the latest news information." Connecting to Skynet. The hologram announced before a failure message appeared. Connecting to the civilian database of base 1359, it continued, this time successfully establishing a connection. The next moment, a vast array of information flashed before Lu Sheng's eyes. As he glanced around, the text enlarged wherever his gaze landed, presenting itself actively before him. On June 21, 11,024 in the military calendar, the number 2 main base successfully launched the 58th batch of life exploration spacecraft, targeting the Lyra galaxy. On July 12, 11,024 in the military calendar, base 105 fell. On September 24, 11,024 in the military calendar, Admiral Sun Kang was successfully promoted to the 10th level star realm, becoming the 472nd 10th level star realm powerhouse in the history of the World Wushu League. Currently, the Wumeng League has a total of 23 10th level star realm powerhouses. On September 30, 11,024 in the martial arts calendar, bases 114, 893, and 1022 fell, and the World Martial Arts League will hold the 274th Grandmaster meeting at the main base of number 1. All sorts of information bombarded Lu Sheng's senses relentlessly. Tales of 10th level powerhouses, planetary colonization schemes, Grandmaster summits. As anticipated, the martial arts civilization of this world far surpassed that of his own, even delving into the realms of the 10th and 11th levels of martial prowess. Yet, amidst this brilliance, the predominant news that greeted Lu Sheng was the relentless cascade of martial arts base collapses. The martial arts civilization here shines with unparalleled brilliance, reaching unimaginable heights, Lu Sheng mused, but it faces adversaries of unfathomable ferocity. Even the mightiest of 10th and 11th level martial artists struggle to shield humanity from the relentless onslaught of alien beasts. In time, they even resorted to abandoning their home planet, seeking refuge on a new habitable world. Yet, judging from the reports, Lu Sheng's gaze fell, and the once rapid flow of blue light information before him began to decelerate. Until the fall of base 1359, the exploration vessels launched yielded naught but disappointment upon their return. Lu Sheng lamented for them. Amidst the stark news, he discerned the desperation and grief of a once mighty civilization on the brink of collapse. Halting his perusal of the news, Lu Sheng instructed, "Retrieve the world's historical records." World historical data retrieval initiated. World data retrieval successful. Peering at the newly unveiled message, Lu Sheng's eyes widened. In the inaugural year of the martial calendar, the northern expanse of the ancient Eagle Country, the southern reaches of the ancient Lion Country, the eastern territories, and the western dominions of the ancient Dragon Country fissured open, disgorging a multitude of beings from disparate realms. Dramatically, Lu Sheng's mind reeled as he absorbed the opening line of world history, feeling as though a weighty hammer had struck his consciousness, leaving it reverberating. Suspecting an error, He leaned in closer, scrutinizing each word intently. In the 34th year of martial arts, the world witnessed the birth of its first inner martial artist in the Galang Kingdom. Simultaneously, the establishment of the World Martial Arts League marked a significant milestone. In the 42nd year of martial arts, the martial arts classification system was instituted, with Mr. Yang Qianhe, a martial arts master from the Galang Kingdom, attaining the prestigious title of the first 5-level master in the league. The 104th year of Budo. Lu Sheng sat on the ground, dazed. Known for his composure and inscrutable emotions, his face now betrayed shock and disbelief. Scouring through centuries of historical records, he discovered an unsettling truth: the events, figures, and occurrences mirrored precisely what he had learned in history class. The timelines, historical personages, and significant events, all identical. This world, and the world he had known. They were one and the same. The information he had just absorbed didn't depict the rise and fall of another world's martial arts civilization, but rather, the future of his own world. A future spanning 10,000 years ahead. The year 11,024 of the military calendar signifies the impending doom of the world I currently inhabit, destined to be obliterated in over 10,000 years. Consumed by the suffocating black mist, swallowed by the unrelenting onslaught of alien beasts. Lu Sheng's complexion paled as he struggled to accept this grim revelation. Mere moments ago, he had offered a silent tribute to the downfall of a once mighty civilization. Now, he realized he was mourning the future of his own civilization. It may not be definitive. Perhaps it's merely coincidence, or the workings of a parallel world. Lu Sheng whispered to himself, attempting to pacify his racing thoughts. He yearned for more evidence, more concrete facts to validate his suspicions. Turning his focus inward, Lu Sheng delved deeper into history, scouring for elusive clues buried within the annals of time. Lu Sheng tried learning about his own future first. His biography depicted a malnourished 28-year-old Lu Sheng, with sunken cheeks giving his face a gaunt and hollowed-out appearance. It further stated that he was a civilian who lived until the age of 28 and died a virgin. He had not amounted to anything or achieved anything in life. Formed on Lu Sheng's brow as he responded, "Create a user. Please provide a genetic blood sample." It was truly remarkable that future technology's optical brain required genetic blood samples for user authentication. Uncertain of its efficacy within the dream realm, Lu Sheng extended his index finger, allowing the hologram to bite it and draw blood. Just as Lu Sheng was beginning to wonder if the system had crashed, the optical brain emitted a crisp beep sound. However, instead of indicating the successful establishment of a new user, it declared, "The human gene blood sample has been detected, initiating the Fireseed project. Connecting to number 1359 Fireseed Resource Library. Connection successful. Privileges enabled." In the next moment, a vast amount of information appeared before Lu Sheng's eyes.
However, his future was altered on the day he entered the dream world, and now he was portrayed as a level 4 army man who lived for 37 years. Lu Sheng's bio further stated, graduated from Baihei No. 3 Middle School in Baihei City with first place, and he joined the military. After serving in the Tiannan military region, Lu Sheng died at the age of 37 in August 334 on the battlefield of the Southern War Zone, unmarried. He died at 37 with the rank of lieutenant officer and had no outstanding contributions, just a few exploits. There is also a character's historical evaluation at the bottom of the data, which is marked with 2 stars. It corresponds to Lu Sheng's level 2 authority in the Fireseed Resource Library. Lu Sheng took a deep breath, his eyes became extremely complicated. It was hard for him not to believe that this was the future he was about to face. Because the Lu Sheng in the data had exactly the same life trajectory as him before the age of 18. Even the sudden surge in strength more than 200 days before the college entrance examination was recorded. In the face of such weighty history, his sudden transformation from mediocrity to genius didn't even cause a ripple. To be precise, after his transformation, he wasn't considered a genius at all in the vast human race data. Because in the history of over 10,000 years, there were too many geniuses who were 100 times, 1,000 times more outstanding than him, making it impossible to count them all. The so-called leaving a name in history could only be achieved by a select few. Lu Sheng speculated that his 2-star evaluation might be attributed to the military exploits he gained after joining the military region and his final sacrifice on the battlefield. However, if you count my practice and gains in the dream space, then I should have achieved far more than this. 2 strong rays of light suddenly shot out from Lu Sheng's eyes. More than 200 days, more than 200 days of dreaming, more than 200 days of harvest. I don't believe I'm making that much progress. How can I, Lu Sheng, be only the 23rd in the city? My ranking should be nationwide, and my name should be known by more people. My future. Lu Sheng clenched his fists tightly. It must not only be that. Since it is the future, it can be changed. My own future can be changed, and so can the future of the human race. Immediately afterwards, Lu Sheng searched all the familiar people around him. As a result, except for his younger sister Lu King, whose historical evaluation reached 1 star, no one else could reach 1 star, and most of them had half-star or even no-star evaluations. If the human civilization in the future is going to perish, then I, Lu Sheng, will be the one who changes history and turns the tide. Lu Sheng looked at the words Fireseed Resource Library flashing blue light on the optical brain screen, and spoke calmly and firmly. I am the seed of fire, and I will surely start a prairie fire. At this moment, the depression, bewilderment, and disappointment in Lu Sheng's heart were swept away, replaced by unprecedented firmness and confidence. His temperament underwent a new transformation, and there seemed to be a flame burning in his eyes. Martial arts, one should go forward bravely. If the front is doomed to be a desperate situation, then forcefully carve out a way out in the desperate situation. This is Lu Sheng's belief. It was the next morning, and Lu Sheng went for the family breakfast. Lu Sheng, why didn't you change into your school uniform? Don't you have to go to school today? Lu Sheng brought pots of breakfast to the table and curiously asked Lu Sheng, who was sitting at the table in casual attire and eating breakfast. Lu Sheng picked up a meat bun casually, nodded, and said, yes, the teacher said that you can choose to study at home in the future. Is there such a thing? Mom muttered suspiciously. However, she was rushing to work after breakfast, so she didn't have the energy to think too much and didn't ask any more questions. Lu King, who was next to her, originally wanted to say out of habit, I haven't heard that the 3rd middle school has such a new regulation recently, but when she met Lu Sheng's dark and deep eyes, she forcefully swallowed back the sentence. This guy. Lu King took a bite of the bun in her hand. She thought to herself that her big brother had undergone more and more changes and was no longer mediocre and cowardly. Before, she just felt that Lu Sheng had become a little deep and mysterious. But today, Lu Sheng felt to her like a mountain, a piece of iron, a ball of fire. Sitting next to Lu Sheng, she even felt oppressed, unable to breathe. This feeling was too intense. Lu Sheng didn't pay attention to Lu King's strangeness. After he had a quick breakfast, he went back to his room to practice body training. Lu Sheng's cell phone rang, and it was an unfamiliar number. Lu Sheng, your scholarship has come down. Come to school this afternoon to get it, said the voice on the other end, confirming it was Zhang Zhenguo's call. Understood, Teacher Zhang, Lu Sheng replied. By the way, why weren't you in class today? We need to discuss your school attendance with your parents. Unfortunately, I had to ask for your private mobile phone number from your classmates. Zhang Zhenguo trailed off. Mr. Zhang, I don't have much time, so I can't waste any more, Lu Sheng interrupted, hanging up the phone without waiting for a response. Since returning from the dream last night, Lu Sheng's mentality had completely changed. Previously, he cautiously concealed his strength, afraid to reveal too much, and reluctant to let too many people know. He had many concerns, including difficulty explaining to his family, concerns about attracting unwanted attention, and the belief that rigid structures are easy to break. However, now Lu Sheng no longer dwelled on these thoughts. He only wanted to showcase his abilities and astound others. He believed that by demonstrating his talents, he could acquire more resources. He needed to ascend to the top as swiftly as possible and then find a way to alter the future. There was no time to waste. Additionally, Lu Sheng wanted to use this opportunity to test a theory he had been considering. Lu Sheng repeatedly practiced body exercises, combined with breathing techniques, again and again. His goal was to become stronger and shoulder the responsibility of saving humanity. The purpose was to exhaust his energy as quickly as possible, induce a sense of fatigue, and then enter the dreamland. When Lu Sheng finished the 27th round of body exercises, he was finally so tired that he collapsed on the ground, unwilling to move even a little finger. Drowsiness overtook him, and he gradually fell asleep. Upon opening his eyes, he saw the light brain in front of him at the same spot where he had left it yesterday. Lu Sheng skillfully accessed all the martial arts-related practice methods, insights, and notes that he could access within his authority. Querying. Soon, a vast amount of information appeared in front of Lu Sheng, densely packed and all related to martial arts. With over 10,000 years of accumulated knowledge and wisdom from countless individuals, even with Lu Sheng's authority at level 2, the amount of knowledge he could access was immense. After some thought, Lu Sheng continued, Screen, display the exercises most suitable for a first-level martial artist, and the most valuable content. Screening. The content decreased rapidly, leaving only 3 pieces of information in front of him. Stellar Body Forging Technique, a cultivation method created by Wang He, the 11th level powerhouse of the Wuming League. Natural Breathing Method, introduction to the exercises created by Yang Yizhou, the 11th level powerhouse of the Martial Arts League. Crystal Ideas, cultivation method introduction created by Duan Yifeng, the 11th level powerhouse of the Wuming League. The creators list made Lu Sheng's eyes widen with excitement. Level 11. Level 11. Level 11. Today's martial arts experts in the world were only at the 9th level, but here were 3 legacies from 11th level experts. Although they were just introductory chapters, their value was immeasurable. All 3 exercises were included in the Fire Seed project. Those strong men standing at the top of the martial arts league in the future likely anticipated the fate of their race. Yet, they could only preserve the essence of their lifelong learnings for future generations, never imagining that someone from the past would access their knowledge. The stellar body refining technique sets the human body as a miniature universe. When practiced to the depths, the martial artist's body density reaches an unimaginable level. Defense and strength become unparalleled, blood blazing like a star, majestic as a galaxy. The natural breathing method, combined with any martial arts practice, skyrockets progress. It allows warriors to achieve harmony with nature, vastly enhancing martial arts realms. The crystal view thought purifies the mind and strengthens willpower, delving into the mysterious realm of spiritual power in martial arts. Though the results of dream space practice cannot be realized in reality, practicing in the dream space accelerates real-world progress. Lu Sheng eagerly began practicing. Starting with the stellar body refining technique and natural breathing method, even at an introductory level, these exercises proved formidable. As Lu Sheng completed the final movement of the stellar body refining technique, his body trembled as if electrified. Intense pain and numbness swept through every fiber, even vibrating muscles and meridians. The combined effect was profound, akin to radio gymnastics magnified 1,000-fold. Collapsing after practice, Lu Sheng's body lay motionless. Taking advantage of this time, he attempted crystal view thought. The concept, wonderful and mysterious, involved visualizing a crystal human form in the mind, purging impurities with each breath. Though difficult, Lu Sheng recognized its importance. Spiritual will mattered greatly in martial arts. He knew a resolute warrior surpassed one with distractions. Thus, he embraced the challenge, even as he struggled to visualize. Seeking further aid, Lu Sheng inquired about tonics to replenish qi and blood for first-level warriors. A wealth of information appeared, including medicinal formulas and ingredients, easing his efforts. Recording prescriptions, Lu Sheng chose to awaken, armed with newfound knowledge. Hastily rising, he discovered his entire body coated in a layer of black, glossy sludge, the source of the foul smell. This is from the stellar body refining technique and natural breathing method. Though I only practiced them in the dream, some effects still manifest in reality. Lu Sheng realized he had underestimated the combined impact of these techniques. Rushing to shower, he glanced at the clock. It was almost time for school. Lu Sheng went to school to collect his sponsorship money. At least say hello to me first next time, Zhang Xingwo reprimanded him as he handed over a bank card, expressing some dissatisfaction. Understood, Teacher Zhang, Lu Sheng replied calmly. Zhang Xingwo wanted to say more, but seeing Lu Sheng's calm demeanor, he decided against it. Go, come to the school to report at least once a week from now on. Zhang Xingwo waved his hands helplessly. Yes. Lu Sheng put away his bank card, turned around, and left. As Lu Sheng departed, Zhang Xingwo felt an inexplicable feeling in his heart. It was a strange sensation that he couldn't quite articulate. If forced to describe it, Zhang Xingwo could still understand the original Lu Sheng. Now he found himself unable to see through the changed Lu Sheng. This transformation had occurred in a remarkably short span of time. Shaking his head, Zhang Xingwo resolved not to dwell on things he couldn't comprehend. Lu Sheng thought to himself, finally, I have some money. Walking out of Zhang Xingwo's office, he felt a little more at ease in his heart for the first time. Of course, it would be wasteful to directly use this money to buy supplements. The best approach would be to purchase materials and make the tonics himself. Lu Sheng had recently obtained several tonic prescriptions from Fireseed, a kindling resource, and they were proving to be useful. Although these prescriptions were selected by the optical brain and could be realized in his era, determining which ones were suitable for the current Lu Sheng required further screening. The primary screening criterion at this stage was mainly cost. Lu Sheng found an internet cafe near the school and went online to calculate the cost of each prescription, identifying the most suitable ones based on cost-effectiveness. Soon, Lu Sheng identified 2 medicines that were suitable for him: muscle and blood-enhancing potion, and bone-nourishing pill. The constituent medicinal materials for these 2 tonics could be purchased on the market, and the prices were not expensive, falling within Lu Sheng's acceptable range. Although the effect of the bone-nourishing pill was superior, Lu Sheng discovered that one of the medicinal materials needed to be freshly picked to be effective within a few hours, and its origin was not in Baihe City. Then I'll choose the muscle and blood-enhancing potion. It happens that the preparation of this potion is relatively simple, suitable for a novice like me, Lu Sheng decided, firming his resolve. Now, there was only one question left for Lu Sheng to consider: where could he prepare the potion? Despite the simplicity of potion and medicine preparation, it required professional utensils. Even a slight difference in heat or dosage could significantly affect its effectiveness. Buying a set himself was unrealistic due to insufficient funds, making it best to rent someone else's equipment. Lu Sheng felt a sense of distress at this dilemma. Surely, there were places where drugs could be dispensed, such as drug research institutes, larger pharmacies, and pharmaceutical companies. However, the question remained: why would others rent their facilities to him? The blending room was an important space involving the commercial secrets of various pharmaceutical companies. It seemed implausible for individuals to enter casually, let alone borrow it for personal use. Forget it, Lu Sheng concluded. First, I'll buy all the medicinal materials needed for the muscle and blood-enhancing potion, and then I'll think of a way. Sir, are you kidding me? It's absolutely impossible, the pharmacist exclaimed, his face darkening as Lu Sheng's request was met with disbelief. Sensing the pharmacist's reluctance, Lu Sheng swiftly got up and left the establishment. The 7th house is really unrealistic, Lu Sheng muttered to himself as he exited the pharmacy, his expression reflecting a sense of helplessness. Despite having procured all the necessary medicinal materials for the muscle and blood-enhancing potion, and even purchasing several extras, Lu Sheng was faced with rejection after rejection. To his surprise, the amount on the card provided by Zhang Xingwo was not 30,000, but a generous 80,000. Speculating that the extra 50,000 might be Zhang Xingwo's private sponsorship, Lu Sheng found himself grateful for the unexpected support. However, the process of renting a compounding room proved to be far from smooth. Despite his efforts, Lu Sheng was turned away by 7 pharmaceutical companies and pharmacies. With little options left, he contemplated resorting to purchasing crude equipment online. As his gaze fell upon the 8th pharmacy, Zhengshantang, Lu Sheng straightened his clothes and steeled himself for another attempt. The rarity of the store name in Baihe City piqued his interest, prompting him to enter with determination. The pharmacy was small, with cabinets displaying various medicines. A young man in a white coat lounged on the counter, engrossed in his mobile phone. Upon hearing Lu Sheng's entrance, he briefly glanced up before returning to his screen. "Feel free to browse, but remember to pay before leaving," he mumbled, adding a warning about the surveillance cameras in the store. With that, he resumed his phone activities, showing little interest in attending to customers. Lu Sheng observed the lackluster state of the store's business. Unlike other pharmacies where staff would engage customers, this clerk seemed disinterested, almost apathetic. Despite the uninviting atmosphere, Lu Sheng pressed forward, undeterred. Interrupting the young man's phone session, Lu Sheng's firm gaze caught his attention. Initially poised to retaliate, the young man softened upon meeting Lu Sheng's intense stare. "What do you want?" he finally asked, his demeanor subdued in the face of Lu Sheng's commanding presence. The young man took 2 quick steps back, casting fearful glances at Lu Sheng in his mobile phone. Lu Sheng, maintaining his calm demeanor, posed a question: "Does your pharmacy have its own pharmacy dispensing room?" "Why do you ask?" "What if we do?" replied the young man hastily, still uneasy. Lu Sheng lightly tapped the glass counter with a finger and continued calmly, "If you do, I'd like to discuss a business opportunity with you." 5 minutes later, Lu Sheng followed the young man to a door behind the pharmacy. The young man appeared nervous, reiterating the terms of their agreement. "It's 500 for an hour, any time less will still be charged as an hour. You can use it for a maximum of 3 hours. And you'll need to pay 200 in advance." Lu Sheng simply handed over his card. The young man's eyes brightened as he swiftly swiped it, then retrieved a key to open the door. Alright, go in quickly. Just be careful not to damage anything, or you'll be held responsible, he cautioned. I understand, Lu Sheng replied, stepping into the room. As the young man hurried back to the store, his joy was evident, despite his attempts to appear nonchalant. Lu Sheng inspected the room with satisfaction shining in his eyes. Although not large, the mixing room had all the necessary utensils, ample for his needs. It was evident that the pharmacists at Xinshantang took great care of these tools, as each one gleamed with spotless cleanliness. Without wasting any time, Lu Sheng got to work. The young man who had agreed to rent the room had no authority to intervene, and Lu Sheng was determined to achieve his goal swiftly. Donning a white pharmacist's uniform and a mask, Lu Sheng began processing the medicinal materials one by one according to the prescription instructions for the muscle and blood-enhancing potion. This step was crucial, even more so than the final mixing. Fortunately, the preparation of the potion was not overly complicated. It resembled an ordinary chemical experiment, albeit with a somewhat more intricate process. Carefully, Lu Sheng poured the boiled medicinal potion into a flask. I didn't expect the first time to go so smoothly, Lu Sheng thought to himself as he watched the liquid inside the flask gradually cool down, transforming into a beautiful light pink medicinal potion. A sense of satisfaction welled up within him, though true success could only be determined after experiencing its effects. Removing his mask, Lu Sheng tilted the flask and poured all its contents directly into his mouth. The potion flowed down his throat and swiftly into his stomach. He couldn't discern its taste, his focus solely on the impending effects. Waiting quietly for a few moments, Lu Sheng soon felt a surge of heat coursing through his body. It spread rapidly, reaching every corner within mere breaths. His muscle cells eagerly absorbed the energy, overwhelmed by the influx. Unable to withstand it any longer, Lu Sheng collapsed to the ground. A faint white mist emanated from his body as his blood surged, filling him with a sensation of fullness and vitality. After 10 minutes, the sensation gradually waned and eventually disappeared altogether. However, Lu Sheng felt no adverse side effects. He knew he had succeeded. The effect of the muscle and blood-enhancing potion surpassed even his expectations, nearly 10 times more potent than the nourishing blood powder he had previously consumed. What's more, its production cost was less than half that of the powder. Lu Sheng also noticed that his skin had become slightly firmer, as described in the prescription. In addition to strengthening the blood, the potion also enhanced skin density, reduced pores, and provided whitening and moisturizing effects. Reflecting on his success, Lu Sheng couldn't help but sigh with satisfaction. Suddenly, a loud bang on the door interrupted his thoughts. Lu Sheng opened the door with a blank expression as the young man outside urged him to hurry out, citing the imminent return of their boss. Without a word, Lu Sheng swiftly cleaned up the mixing room, gathered the prepared medicine, and exited. Thankfully, the preparation of the 12 muscle and blood-enhancing potions was completed without a hitch, marking a resounding success. Before departing, the young man generously shared his mobile number with Lu Sheng, indicating a willingness to engage in future business. It was evident that he intended to foster a long-term relationship. With 12 servings of the potion securely tucked away in his pocket, Lu Sheng's steps were confident and purposeful as he left the establishment. Lingsu walked elegantly out of her car and approached her pharmacy. At only 20 years old, she possessed a graceful figure and a gentle countenance. While she should have been enjoying life like a flower, she had taken on the burden of her family's responsibilities at an early age. The He family had traditionally made a living through their pharmacy business, with ancestors who were renowned fifth-level pharmacists in Baihe City. However, by the time it reached her father's generation, the family's fortunes had declined. During her grandfather's time, the He family had flourished, with their Xinshantang branches spanning several provinces and numbering over 100. Yet now, only 2 branches remained in Baihe City. The world of martial arts is evolving rapidly, and the medical industry, intertwined with martial arts, is constantly changing. New and improved prescriptions are being developed daily, while old ones are being rendered obsolete. The reason for the He family's decline to this point lies in their conservative and outdated approach, adhering strictly to old traditions without considering progress. I don't even think about whether the martial arts tonic that was popular 100 years ago can still sell well now. At that time, many people couldn't even afford a pair of nourishing blood powder with a monthly salary. Only by bringing forth the new through the old is the best way to save my He family's current predicament, Lingsu lamented. She had always followed this principle. Over the past period, she had tirelessly searched for a new martial arts tonic everywhere, hoping it could serve as a flagship product to revitalize the He family's business. However, after half a year of effort, little progress had been made. Just yesterday, she learned that an old pharmacist in the neighboring city had recently developed a new tonic, prompting He Lingsu to rush over immediately. Unfortunately, halfway through her journey, she received a call informing her not to come, as the new drug had already secured a partnership. Disheartened, He Lingsu returned home empty-handed. "Miss He, you're back." The young man in a white coat greeted her as soon as she entered. He Lingsu, feeling dejected and preoccupied, merely nodded in response, lacking the energy to engage in conversation. Having managed the family's pharmacy for so long, she was well aware of the character flaws of the shop assistants. This particular clerk, named Ma Fei, was lazy, frequently late to work, and had even been caught stealing tonics from the store to sell. Despite several warnings, he showed no signs of remorse. If He Lingsu could find a suitable replacement, she would have dismissed Ma Fei without hesitation. "It's a shame, you're so beautiful. If only you could be my girlfriend." Ma Fei's gaze lingered on He Lingsu's departing figure before reluctantly shifting away. He Lingsu had always been the object of Ma Fei's romantic fantasies. The reason he remained at Xinshantang despite its dwindling business was because he harbored hopes that He Lingsu might one day return his affections. Though the odds of such a scenario were slim, it didn't dampen Ma Fei's dreams. After all, he saw it as the perfect combination of love and career, a pinnacle of life's achievements. Ma Fei was lost in his thoughts, sprawled across the counter, when suddenly He Lingsu's figure appeared before him once again. Ma Fei was jolted upright, hastily wiping the drool from the corner of his mouth with his sleeve. At that moment, He Lingsu's usually serene expression had transformed into one of icy displeasure, her features contorted with anger. "Did you sneak someone into my pharmacy's mixing room?" Ma Fei vigorously shook his head in denial, but the flickering uncertainty in his eyes betrayed him. He Lingsu, reading the signs, was almost certain of his guilt. "Forget it, you don't have to come to work tomorrow," He Lingsu declared, her tone indifferent. "Ah. Miss He, please listen to my explanation." Ma Fei pleaded desperately, but He Lingsu ignored him, swiftly turning on her heel and exiting the scene. Already in a foul mood, encountering such an incident only fueled He Lingsu's frustration. In her free time, she often conducted research on new drugs in the lab, making her intimately familiar with every aspect of the compounding room. Upon entering the lab earlier, she immediately noticed signs of tampering. Items had been disturbed, and there was an unmistakable musky odor lingering in the air, a stark contrast to the room's usual sterile environment. Fuming with rage, He Lingsu began tidying up, her movements sharp and purposeful. Snatching up the pharmacist's gown, now tainted with a foreign scent, she tossed it unceremoniously into the trash. "All utensils must be washed again, and the table disinfected," she ordered briskly, her fastidious nature leaving no room for compromise. If circumstances permitted, she would have disposed of everything and procured a fresh set without a second thought. He Lingsu examined the remnants of the unused lizard scale, the most valuable ingredient, left behind by the person who had used her lab. She realized that many individuals were attempting to create their own tonics, but developing a new formula wasn't as simple as it seemed. It required thorough and in-depth research, not just a desire to create something new. He Lingsu's initial reaction was one of disgust as she noticed the used flask on the floor, containing remnants of a light pink liquid. Despite her grimace, she inexplicably found herself donning gloves to retrieve the flask from the ground. Then, against her better judgment, she tasted the liquid inside. She stood there, stunned by her own actions, momentarily speechless. She laughed at herself, shaking her head in disbelief. 10 minutes later, Ma Fei was in the midst of departing. The prospect of no longer seeing the object of his infatuation, the goddess in his heart, filled him with regret. "If only I hadn't been so greedy for a few extra bucks. You've doomed me, you brat," Ma Fei lamented to himself as he exited the pharmacy, casting a wistful glance backward. "God, just let me have one more glimpse of my goddess," he prayed silently. To his utter disbelief, his wish seemed to be granted. He watched in astonishment as He Lingsu hurried towards him, her expression a mix of tension, anxiety, and urgency. Ma Fei couldn't believe his eyes. Was his wildest fantasy actually coming true? The plots from those novels, once mere escapism, now appeared to be materializing before his very eyes. An overwhelming sense of joy and excitement surged within him as he eagerly called out, "Lingsu." He Lingsu's eyes lit up at the sight of Ma Fei standing, waving enthusiastically. Without hesitation, she rushed towards him, seizing his clothes and speaking urgently, "You're still here? This is perfect. I need to ask you something very important." Ma Fei's face brimmed with excitement and happiness as He Lingsu approached him. However, He Lingsu frowned at being addressed by Ma Fei, but she pushed aside her irritation. There were more pressing matters at hand. "Who did you bring into the lab today? I need to see him. Right now. Immediately." He Lingsu demanded urgently. Ma Fei was taken aback, realizing that He Lingsu's reaction was quite different from what he had anticipated. "Are you deaf? I said I want to see the person you brought into the mixing room today. Find him now. And if you can, I promise not only will you keep your job at Xingshantang, but I'll double your salary." He Lingsu's tone brooked no argument. Ma Fei quickly snapped out of his daze, reaching for his phone with a sense of urgency. "I have his contact information," he said, his voice tinged with a hint of excitement. "Give it to me," He Lingsu demanded, her impatience evident. Time was of the essence. He Lingsu's anxiety was fueled by the pharmacological analysis report she had just received, a report that was nothing short of astounding. The potency of this tonic is over 10 times greater than similar products on the market costing less than 100,000 yuan. Not only that, it boasts additional benefits like whitening and muscle building. Moreover, its main components are common medicinal materials readily available on the market. And, based on initial estimates, the production cost is no more than 5,000 yuan. What's more, there's no existing tonic on the market with similar properties. In other words, it's a new product, a revolutionary tonic that's yet to hit the market. With all these factors considered, He Lingsu sensed an unprecedented business opportunity unfolding before her. The prospect of saving the He family's business seemed closer than ever before. Lu Sheng was deeply engrossed in his practice when the phone suddenly rang. The small room was nearly engulfed by the steam, resembling a sauna in full operation. Thick white vapor filled every corner, creating an atmosphere that would trick anyone stepping inside into thinking they had entered a steam room. The source of this vapor was none other than Lu Sheng himself. Every pore on his body seemed to emit intense heat, akin to a kettle nearing its boiling point. Amidst the hazy mist, the muscles on Lu Sheng's body trembled rhythmically, appearing to pulsate and expand with each breath. The latent power beneath his skin was palpable, even visible to the naked eye. After completing the final move, Lu Sheng remained seated, his chest rising and falling with each labored breath. Streams of white vapor flowed in and out of his nostrils and mouth, resembling ethereal serpents dancing around the room. After what felt like an eternity, the steam gradually dissipated, and Lu Sheng slowly opened his eyes. The stellar body refining technique truly lived up to its reputation as the most potent body refinement method of the future. It unlocked the human body's potential to unimaginable levels. If this progress continued, perhaps Lu Sheng might even cultivate a star within his body. The natural breathing method was equally remarkable. Its formidable recovery abilities were indispensable for maximizing the effects of body training. Lu Sheng clenched his fists, reveling in the newfound power coursing through his veins. With a sense of satisfaction, he acknowledged, "My vitality has increased significantly. The muscle and blood-enhancing potion has proven highly effective. Considering my current physique, 2 servings a day suffice, and any more would be excessive. With 12 servings, I have enough for 6 days. After that, I'll need to procure more." With a determined resolve, Lu Sheng prepared to embark on his journey toward further self-improvement. The sudden ring of his mobile phone interrupted Lu Sheng's contemplation. He picked it up to find He Lingsu on the other end, introducing herself as the owner of the lab he had rented earlier. She expressed interest in meeting him to discuss collaboration on the new tonic he had prepared. With calm composure, Lu Sheng responded, "We can meet a week from now," before promptly hanging up the phone. Meanwhile, He Lingsu reinstated Ma Fei in charge of the pharmacy and tasked him with finding Lu Sheng as soon as possible. She even offered a reward of 10,000 yuan for each day Ma Fei successfully shortened the time it took to locate Lu Sheng in the coming week. In base 1359, Lu Sheng found himself standing in the middle of a desolate street, facing a tall zombie with a missing left arm and a gaping wound on its chest. As he gazed towards the gap in the city wall, the zombie turned its head towards him, signaling an imminent confrontation. Despite the apparent danger, Lu Sheng remained composed, taking a step forward to meet the oncoming threat. The one-armed zombie wasted no time and charged towards him with relentless speed. Despite being outmatched in strength, Lu Sheng remained focused, relying on his experience and skills to navigate the encounter. He deftly countered every attack with precision and efficiency, exploiting the zombie's weaknesses while avoiding its formidable strikes. Though the zombie possessed superior speed and strength, it was ultimately no match for Lu Sheng's strategic prowess. With a well-timed punch to its forehead, Lu Sheng delivered a devastating blow that caused the zombie's head to explode, bringing an end to the confrontation. As the zombie's body disintegrated, its accumulated experience and skills transferred to Lu Sheng in the form of a black wisp of smoke. With a solemn chant, Lu Sheng absorbed the essence of the fallen foe, further enhancing his own abilities. As Lu Sheng absorbed the memories of the fallen zombie, he felt a profound sense of duty weighing on his shoulders. No longer did he view these creatures simply as sources of experience points, but rather as reminders of the responsibility he carried. With each memory absorbed, Lu Sheng's commitment to his path grew stronger. The memory of the one-armed zombie revealed its former status as a fifth-level warrior, a formidable powerhouse skilled in the art of boxing. Lu Sheng couldn't help but marvel at the strength and skill contained within the zombie's recollections, realizing the impact it would have on his own training. After nearly a week of dedicated practice, Lu Sheng felt the effects of his regimen taking hold. Though unsure of his exact progress, he sensed a significant increase in his qi and blood levels, indicative of his growing power. Even if he hadn't reached the standards of a second-level warrior, his combat abilities were undoubtedly on par. Reflecting on the secret techniques he had uncovered, Lu Sheng devised a new method of exerting force, which he aptly named Stellar Force. This technique allowed him to unleash bursts of power far beyond his normal limits, multiplying his combat effectiveness several times over. Excited by the potential of his discovery, Lu Sheng realized that Stellar Force had the potential to revolutionize martial arts worldwide. With determination in his heart, he continued his journey, ready to explore the full extent of his newfound abilities. As Lu Sheng roused from his dream, he found himself surprisingly refreshed, his mind clear and alert. It was a sensation he had grown accustomed to, a side effect of cultivating within his dreams, where his mind and body could rest even as he trained. Taking advantage, Lu Sheng wasted no time in resuming his training regimen. With dedication, he delved back into the stellar body refining technique, the natural breathing method, and continued to hone his understanding of the crystal concept. After a week of diligent practice, Lu Sheng's efforts bore fruit. His progress in mastering the crystal concept was remarkable, as he succeeded in constructing a crystal human figure, an achievement that marked his entry into the realm of this advanced martial art. With each passing day, Lu Sheng felt himself growing stronger, both mentally and physically. Encouraged by his progress, he looked forward to the challenges that lay ahead, confident in his ability to overcome them. Lu Sheng glanced at the clock and realized it was still early, just past 8 in the morning. With a thought, he decided it was time to assess his current qi, blood, and combat power. If his measurements met the standard, he could proceed with the warrior assessment. Making his way to Hongshan Vuguin, Lu Sheng approached the front desk to rent the necessary test equipment. The receptionist, a pretty young woman, greeted him with a smile. "Back again so soon, huh?" she quipped, her tone playful. "Midterm exam worries?" Lu Sheng was momentarily taken aback by her familiarity, then quickly understood. Indeed, this wasn't his first visit this month. His rapid growth and strength had prompted more frequent visits than usual, though such frequency was unusual for most. In the world of martial arts, where fluctuations in qi and blood played a crucial role, testing too frequently could lead to inaccurate results. Even the most rigorous institutions typically conducted monthly exams, recognizing the need for sufficient time between tests to allow for meaningful changes in strength to manifest. With a wry smile, Lu Sheng could only offer a vague and perfunctory response, acknowledging the unique circumstances of his accelerated growth. As Lu Sheng entered the familiar testing room, he casually located an instrument, deciding to begin with a blood test. With a soft beep, the machine swiftly produced a result. 15.632. The figure caught Lu Sheng off guard, prompting a surprised reaction. He hadn't anticipated such a significant increase. Reflecting on his recent regimen, he realized the combination of the advanced martial arts techniques from the future and the potent tonics had likely contributed to this remarkable growth. Considering the unparalleled benefits bestowed upon him by these advancements, it was no wonder his progress exceeded expectations. "Let's test the combat power again," Lu Sheng declared with a glint in his eyes, gearing up to deliver a powerful punch at the force measuring instrument. "Test the normal setting first," he muttered to himself as he aimed his fist at the instrument. With a resounding boom, a value promptly appeared on the screen of the force measuring instrument, 3,137. The figure took Lu Sheng by surprise, far surpassing his expectations. It was double the standard value, leaving him momentarily stunned. Perhaps it's because of my improved boxing skills, he mused, tracing the source of the significant increase in his combat power. He recalled that he hadn't tested his combat power since his boxing techniques had advanced to a new realm, likely contributing to the remarkable surge. Realizing the potential implications of this newfound strength, Lu Sheng's excitement grew. Eager to explore further, he decided to test his ultimate combat power, employing the stellar force technique this time. Emerging from the dynamometer room moments later, Lu Sheng maintained his calm demeanor, betraying no hint of emotion. "Is the test over? Are you satisfied with the results?" the girl at the front desk inquired cheerfully. Lu Sheng smiled faintly, his charm accentuated by his composed demeanor. "Very satisfied," he replied. Returning her smile, the girl at the front desk couldn't help but remark, "Then I wish you the best of luck in your endeavors." "Thank you," Lu Sheng responded, waving casually as he made his exit from the martial arts hall. As Lu Sheng neared the door, he noticed a tall, graceful woman walking alongside a young man of similar age, both of them passing by him. The woman was Ni Shuang, the daughter of Hong Chuan, the director of the martial arts academy. Observing his departure, the girl couldn't help but admire, "You may act aloof, but you have a charming smile." "Who are you talking about?" Ni Shuang inquired as they passed by. "Just a student renting an instrument for testing, probably from a nearby high school," the young man beside her replied casually, glancing at Lu Sheng walking out the door. "Students like that, who can't even afford their own tester at home, probably won't score very well," Ni Shuang remarked with a glance back at Lu Sheng. The young man, with fair skin and a somewhat handsome appearance, smiled knowingly. His attire suggested a higher level of refinement than that of typical households, and his demeanor exuded a natural sense of superiority. Perhaps, Ni Shuang agreed, though she couldn't shake off a slight discomfort from the boy's tone. Nonetheless, she acknowledged the truth in his observation. In martial arts practice, resources play a significant role. A child from a prosperous family benefits from consuming various supplements since childhood. Ni Shuang hesitated for a moment, pondering whether to comply with the young man's request. She knew his intentions were more about boosting his ego than genuine curiosity about the other students' performance. The object of comparison should be the top students, not ordinary people, she reminded him sternly, hoping to deter him from pursuing this line of thought. However, the young man persisted, driven by his desire to assert his superiority. "I just want to increase my self-confidence, Senior Sister Ni, please," he pleaded, appealing to her sense of compassion. Relenting, Ni Shuang finally agreed to check the test results. With a hint of satisfaction, the young man smirked, reveling in the prospect of confirming his assumptions. "That guy is as thin as a bamboo pole, and his blood value is probably not even 1. He should be a little older than me. He. The young man muttered, relishing in his moment of perceived superiority. As the data appeared on the screen, the young man's expression underwent a sudden and dramatic change. Frozen in disbelief, he stared fixedly at the numbers, as if unable to comprehend what he was seeing. Then, breaking the silence with a shout of astonishment, he exclaimed, "That guy. Can his blood value be so much higher than mine?" Ni Shuang, too, was taken aback by the revelation. The assumptions she had made about the student moments ago were shattered in an instant. The young man she had dismissed as malnourished and from a poor family turned out to be an exceptional talent. Struggling to process the revelation, Ni Shuang's expression shifted from shock to incredulity. She couldn't reconcile the image she had formed of the student with the reality presented by the test results. Doubt crept into her mind, and she found herself questioning the reliability of the instrument. This instrument, could it be malfunctioning? She mused, her tone tinged with uncertainty. The girl at the front desk, shaken by the unexpected turn of events, chimed in, "Impossible, it was overhauled yesterday." Her response was swift and firm, emphasizing the instrument's recent maintenance and dismissing any doubts about its accuracy. "That means..." Ni Shuang paused, taking a deep breath in an attempt to steady her racing thoughts. "This achievement is real," she concluded, her voice carrying a mixture of surprise and acceptance. The girl at the front desk nodded, her expression reflecting the shock of the unexpected revelation. "Now, immediately, find me the boy who just tested. Let everyone go." Ni Shuang's tone was urgent, her command leaving no room for hesitation. He often comes to our Hongchan martial arts school. He must not live far away. There must be someone nearby who knows him. Go. Yes, Senior Sister Ni. The girl at the front desk responded promptly, her previous bewilderment replaced by a sense of purpose as she rushed to carry out Ni Shuang's directive, grateful to be free from the relentless chatter of the middle-aged driver. Throughout the journey, the driver had prattled on about everything from the college entrance examination to employment, leaving Lu Sheng feeling exasperated. Despite his annoyance, Lu Sheng had feigned interest, nodding and responding intermittently to avoid appearing rude. Reflecting on the conversation, Lu Sheng regretted not being more forthcoming about his true purpose. He wished he had told the driver that he was heading to the Martial Art Association for the second-level martial artist certification assessment. Perhaps then, the driver would have dismissed him as eccentric and refrained from engaging in lengthy discussions. As he paid the fare and exited the taxi, Lu Sheng breathed a sigh of relief, thankful to finally be free from the taxi driver's incessant prattle. The driver bid him farewell warmly, unaware of the internal turmoil he had caused Lu Sheng during the journey. Lu Sheng entered the Baihei City Martial Artists Association with a sense of purpose. The grand building bore the association's name proudly on a signboard by the entrance, hinting at the esteemed nature of the institution. Upon entering the lobby, Lu Sheng observed that it was relatively quiet, with few people present. It was evident that access to the association was a privilege. Following the posted notices on the wall, Lu Sheng made his way to the desk designated for martial artist assessment and identification. The staff there scrutinized his ID card before confirming his intention to participate in the first-level martial artist certification assessment. Though Lu Sheng's abilities could qualify him for a higher level, he found no desk dedicated to handling second-level assessments. Nevertheless, he remained composed as he proceeded with the first-level assessment process. After filling out the required form and paying the assessment fee, Lu Sheng received patient and thorough guidance from the staff. Despite his youth, Lu Sheng's determination and confidence in his abilities did not go unnoticed. Following the staff's instructions, Lu Sheng arrived at the entrance to the examination room. Lu Sheng couldn't help but feel a pang of sympathy as he witnessed the distraught young man stumbling out of the examination hall. Tears streamed down the thin and tall student's cheeks, his pale face betraying his inner turmoil. Amidst his evident distress, the student muttered to himself, expressing disbelief at the disparity between his home tests and the results obtained at the examination center. He lamented his perceived failure, questioning his abilities and feeling utterly demotivated. Observing the student's despondent state, the examiner offered words of consolation and encouragement. He reassured the student that the instruments used by the Martial Arts Association were meticulously calibrated for accuracy, far superior to those available commercially. As Lu Sheng stood in line among the throng of students waiting to take their assessment exams, he couldn't help but notice the stark contrast between himself and the others. The majority of the students came from affluent backgrounds, evident from their well-nourished appearances and the confidence with which they carried themselves. In contrast, Lu Sheng, hailing from a modest family, felt like an outsider amidst the sea of privilege. His attention was drawn to three individuals in particular among the crowd. One had a visage resembling that of a centipede, exuding an aura of strength and intensity. Another was a fierce-looking man whose presence commanded attention. Lastly, there was a girl with striking purple hairband. It seemed that she, too, was of a similar age to him. As the imposing figure of Zhao Chongfeng strode into the hall, a hush fell over the assembled students. Towering over 7 feet tall, his presence commanded instant respect, causing others to instinctively lower their heads in deference. Without uttering a word, he bypassed the queue of students, heading straight to the examiner's desk to demand his assessment. Initially, the students protested his blatant disregard for the queue, arguing for the principles of fairness and equality. However, their objections were quickly silenced as the examiner revealed Zhao Chongfeng's status as a Level 2 martial artist, eligible for a Level 3 assessment. A collective gasp rippled through the room at this revelation. To achieve such a feat indicated formidable strength, placing him among the elite martial artists of his generation. In martial arts, power held sway, granting its wielders privileges and respect. As Zhao Chongfeng approached the testing equipment, the tension in the room palpably heightened. The blood measuring instrument displayed a staggering value of 107.256, surpassing the threshold for a third-level martial artist. His combat effectiveness index was equally awe-inspiring, his punch executed with such speed and precision that it left onlookers stunned. Among the astonished crowd, Lu Sheng's eyes sparkled with intrigue, recognizing the magnitude of Zhao Chongfeng's prowess. Observing Zhao Chongfeng's punch with keen interest, Lu Sheng noted the distinct style reminiscent of a particular boxing technique. As the force gauge displayed a formidable value of 10,831, confirming his exceptional combat effectiveness, a collective gasp filled the room. Passing the assessment with flying colors, Zhao Chongfeng's status as a third-level martial artist was officially recognized by the Baihei City Martial Art Association. The announcement of his achievement garnered admiration and envy from his peers, who understood the prestige and privileges that accompanied such a rank. Offering congratulations to Zhao Chongfeng, the examiner revealed the benefits he would now enjoy, including a generous monthly martial arts allowance. The examiner's smile reflected the pride and satisfaction in welcoming a new elite member into their ranks, further amplifying the envy directed towards Zhao Chongfeng. Surveying the reactions of the other students, Zhao Chongfeng's gaze settled on Lu Sheng and the pure-looking girl with the purple headband. Unlike the others who had been humbled by the impact of his punch, the two of them remained composed, their expressions betraying a sense of curiosity and intrigue. Meeting Zhao Chongfeng's gaze, Lu Sheng regarded him with a mixture of interest and scrutiny, recognizing the significance of his achievement while contemplating its implications. With a determined resolve, Lu Sheng confidently presented his examination paper to the examiner, signaling his readiness for the first-level martial artist assessment. Lu Sheng, the first-level martial artist assessment, the examiner announced, drawing the attention of everyone in the room, including Zhao Chongfeng and the girl with the purple headband. Even the examiner himself cast several curious glances in Lu Sheng's direction, acknowledging the rarity of someone his age participating in the assessment, a testament to his potential talent. Offering words of reassurance, the examiner spoke softly, encouraging Lu Sheng not to be nervous and to approach the assessment with the same confidence he would in any other situation. This unexpected display of support further bolstered Lu Sheng's determination as he prepared to demonstrate his skills and capabilities. As Lu Sheng placed his hand on the device, the bright red blood flowed gently into the groove of the blood measuring instrument. All eyes in the room were fixated on the display, some with serious intent, others more casually observing. In the blink of an eye, the value appeared on the screen, 15.701. Boom! The room erupted into chaos. More than half of the occupants jumped from their seats in astonishment. The examiner's demeanor shifted to one of utmost gentleness, seeking to reassure Lu Sheng amidst the astonishment filling the room. "Don't worry, just relax," he murmured softly. "You can take the combat power index test as many times as you like until you're satisfied." Taking a deep breath, Lu Sheng addressed the examiner firmly. "No, just once," he declared. The examiner was taken aback by Lu Sheng's response, momentarily stunned into silence, his initial shock yet to subside. The room fell silent as Lu Sheng delivered his punch, his movement so swift that others only caught a glimpse of a gesture. Only the burly man's eyes widened in alarm, instinctively taking a step forward. Boom! The sound echoed loudly, louder than any test before it, shattering the glass behind the measuring instrument. Hearts raced as everyone awaited the results on the force measuring instrument. When the numbers finally appeared, the room was stunned into silence. The examiner struggled to articulate the digits, his expression reflecting the shock rippling through the room. Soon, he realized the magnitude of what he saw and quickly corrected himself. 15,709. He announced, his voice quivering. The realization hit like a thunderbolt. Lu Sheng's combat power exceeded 15,000, a feat unheard of in their midst. However, Lu Sheng remained unperturbed by the astonishing result. He had anticipated this outcome, having previously tested his abilities at the Hongchan Martial Arts Hall. The examiner, caught in a dilemma, the examiner pledged to inform the higher-ups about Lu Sheng's evaluation, recognizing the need to honor his extraordinary talent. As Lu Sheng prepared to leave, Zhao Chongfeng presented himself, offering a handshake and showed his respect to Lu Sheng and recognized his strength. Lu Sheng was taken aback when he exited the building and unexpectedly encountered his sister along with two other girls. He had not anticipated running into them at them for skipping classes and has a low blood standard of 0.68. As Lu Sheng greeted them, the two girls introduced themselves as Feng Fanfan and Shu Nuo, Lu King's school friends. They explained that they were waiting for their older sister Yang, who was undergoing a level 1 assessment. Lu King's friends were flustered but impressed by Lu Sheng's remarkable abilities and handsome appearance, which contradicted Lu King's previous descriptions of him. They expressed their admiration for Lu Sheng and he graciously accepted their compliments and thanked them before parting ways. Only a few minutes after Lu Sheng left, they saw Sister Yang emerging from the assessment building. After greeting a beautiful girl with a purple headband named Yang Yuan, Lu King eagerly inquired about her assessment results. Yang Yuan, admired for her exceptional abilities, revealed that the assessment had been suspended due to an unforeseen circumstance involving a remarkable individual. Describing this individual as a monster and an evildoer, Yang Yuan recounted his astonishing blood standard of 15.7 and combat power exceeding 15,700. Her revelation left Lu King and his friends in disbelief, struggling to comprehend the existence of such extraordinary talent. When Feng Fanfan inquired about the person's name, Yang Yuan revealed it to be Lu Sheng. Upon hearing this, Lu King and Shu Nuo exchanged a knowing glance, realizing the significance of the name. With dawning realization, they realized that Lu Sheng was Lu King's brother and had just walked out of the assessment room. This revelation left Yang Yuan stunned, as she grappled with the implications of her encounter with Lu Sheng and his extraordinary abilities. As Lu Sheng bought meat buns on his way home, that's when he noticed a group of people rushing through the area. Several women were discussing the commotion while watching from a distance. They mentioned that the group belonged to the Hongchan martial arts school and were searching for someone door to door. Although he overheard the conversation, Lu Sheng didn't think much of it at the time. Unbeknownst to him, they were actually searching for him, aiming to recruit him for their school. As Lu Sheng finished his last meat bun, his phone rang, displaying the caller ID for Xing Shantang once again. Ignoring the call, he had a rough idea of what they wanted to discuss: collaboration on the muscle and blood-enhancing potion. While he needed funds to support his strength improvement, he had reservations about partnering with them. Lu Sheng had already agreed to meet with him in a week, but he felt there was nothing further to discuss until then. He needed to thoroughly investigate whether Xing Shantang was qualified and worthy of his prescription before making any decisions. He fell asleep. In the dream world, base 1359, Lu Sheng faced the optical brain and calmly instructed to call out his biography. In the next second, a wealth of information appeared before Lu Sheng. The sight of his photo caused his heart to skip a beat, confirming his suspicions. In the photo, the once handsome and resolute middle-aged Lu Sheng had been replaced by an old man with gray hair and high spirits. Name: Lu Sheng. Sex: male. Lifespan: June 297 in Budo, July 383 in Budo. Martial arts strength: level 6 martial artist. Life experience: became a second-level martial artist at the age of 18, causing a sensation in Baihei City. Under the recommendation of the Baihei City Wushu Association, he participated in the talent training camp of Dongning Province and entered the top 20. Graduated from Dongning Wuhan University, first place in the city, 32nd in the province, and 145th in the country, and served in the military. Retired as lieutenant and founded the Holy Martial Arts School in Baihei City, promoted to a 6th-level martial artist at the age of 45, and failed to become a 7th-level grandmaster at 55. Died at the age of 87 due to a strange beast attack in Baihei City. Married with 2 daughters and 1 son. This time, Lu Sheng's life history had become much richer. He noted that the historical evaluation of the characters under him had also increased, now 2.5 stars. However, his authority remained at level 2. He was now sure that the future can be changed. A week ago, he was a 4th-level martial artist at the age of 37. A week later, he successfully lived to be more than 80 years old, and the upper limit of my strength has reached level 6. If it hadn't been for an accident, he might have lived longer. The difference between was his improved strength, by which ranks obtained in the college entrance examination are different, the universities entered are different, and the final destiny is completely different. Earlier I graduated from Baihei Wuda. I chose to join the military region. Now I chose to open my own martial arts school after graduating from Dongning Wuda. In the end, I even hope to become a 7th-level master. The current effort is too important. The choice determines the fate. This sentence is not just casually. In addition, Lu Sheng also noticed one point. This biography didn't mention any information related to stellar body refining technique, natural breathing method, and crystal conception thought. It seems that the exercises I got in the dream space, as long as I don't choose to expose them, will not be exposed. Will it have any impact on subsequent lives? Turning off the optical brain, Lu Sheng's eyes became extremely firm. Through verification, my idea is correct. Destiny can indeed be changed. But if I want to truly change the fate of the human race and leverage the development trajectory of the entire world in the next 10,000 years, my current strength is far from enough. A 6th-level quasi-grandmaster is insignificant, a 7th-level grandmaster, an 8th-level grandmaster, and even a 9th-level martial saint are very difficult to achieve. Perhaps when I reach the height of a 10th level or even 11th level powerhouse in this era, I will have the slightest chance of turning the tide. Even in the next 10,000 years, 11th level martial arts experts will be rare, let alone in the current 300 years of martial arts. The path Lu Sheng desires to pursue is exceedingly challenging. In the Baihei City Martial Artists Association, President Xiao Zhuhe, a 6th-level peak martial artist, appears remarkably youthful despite nearing his 60th year. Engrossed in writing characters of God, he focuses intently, aiming to fulfill a master's spiritual cultivation requirement. Advised by an old master that writing 100,000 God characters could elevate him to mastery, Xiao Zhuhe diligently pens his 46,722nd character, steadily progressing towards his goal. President receives a call from government official of Baihei City. President Xiao Zhuhe faces criticism for the city's lack of representation in upcoming Dongning Province's talent training camp. The official expresses disappointment in the president's focus on personal strength rather than finding a suitable representative for the upcoming training camp. The absence of a representative for the past few years has become a source of embarrassment for the city and province. In response, President Xiao Zhuhe defends himself by highlighting the city's lack of established martial art families and resources to support emerging talents. He expresses frustration at the inability to find a martial arts genius within the province, emphasizing the challenges faced in nurturing and retaining promising prospects. Despite his efforts, President Xiao Zhuhe feels helpless in addressing the city's need for a representative in the upcoming training camp. "President Xiao Zhuhe," exclaimed the secretary as she burst into the room. Xiao Zhuhe looked up, mildly annoyed. "What's the rush? Can't you even remember to knock before barging in?" He chided gently. The secretary, in her 30s with a gentle demeanor and glasses, appeared flustered. "I'm sorry, President. I'll be more careful next time," the secretary apologized sheepishly before shifting to a serious demeanor. "I have something important to report," she continued, her tone urgent. "Go on," Xiao Zhuhe prompted, his interest piqued. The secretary quickly briefed him on the matter, her words gradually eliciting a change in Xiao Zhuhe's expression. As she mentioned the last detail, his demeanor shifted noticeably. "Fetch me the details immediately," Xiao Zhuhe urged, his tone urgent. The secretary hastened to hand over the tablet she held, and Xiao Zhuhe began to scrutinize the information intently. As he read through the contents, his initial calm expression transformed into one of astonishment. Gradually, a sense of immense surprise blossomed across his features. "Excellent! Excellent!" he exclaimed, his excitement evident. Xiao Zhuhe then turned his attention to the assessment video displayed on the screen. Observing Lu Sheng's demeanor, he couldn't help but be impressed by the young man's composure and confidence. "He exudes the aura of a natural leader," Xiao Zhuhe remarked, his eyes shining with admiration. The secretary nodded in agreement. As the video showed Lu Sheng undergoing the blood test, Xiao Zhuhe's anticipation grew. Despite already knowing the outcome from the data, witnessing the blood value of 15.701 on the screen sent a shiver of excitement down his spine. What struck him most was Lu Sheng's youth. At only 17 years old, with just a month into his 3rd year of high school, achieving such a remarkable blood value was unprecedented. The impact of this discovery was profound. For comparison, the average vitality value among high school students in Baihei City was a mere fraction of Lu Sheng's. Rising abruptly from his seat, Xiao Zhuhe couldn't contain his excitement. "I never imagined Baihei City would produce such a genius," he exclaimed, his expression filled with enthusiasm. After a moment of exhilaration, Xiao Zhuhe's emotions gradually subsided, replaced by a sense of anticipation and intrigue. "President, do you think this Lu Sheng took a lot of tonics?" The secretary chimed in, breaking the silence. Xiao Zhuhe glanced at her, a hint of amusement flickering in his eyes. "Do you realize how many tonics he'd need to reach a blood value of 15.7 at his age?" he countered. "Even if someone fed him tonics day and night, it wouldn't account for his remarkable abilities. Genius isn't something you can simply buy with money." The secretary nodded in agreement, understanding the implications of Xiao Zhuhe's words. As a 6th-level peak martial artist, he recognized the superficiality of relying solely on tonics to enhance one's abilities. Lu Sheng's strength and vitality were of a different caliber altogether, evident in his solid foundation in combat effectiveness. The sound of Lu Sheng's punch reverberated through the room, each strike resonating with power and precision. More than 15,700, Xiao Zhuhe murmured, his focus unwavering as he scrutinized the video. The perfect realm of boxing technique, he mused, emphasizing each word. The secretary listened intently, captivated by Xiao Zhuhe's analysis. After reviewing the footage multiple times, Xiao Zhuhe's excitement reached a crescendo. Rising from his seat, he exclaimed, "It must be so. There's no other explanation." His elation was palpable, surpassing any previous instance. The secretary, taken aback by his fervor, watched in astonishment. "President," she began cautiously. But Xiao Zhuhe's laughter drowned out her words. "Ha ha, Xiao Shu. Our Baihei Martial Arts Association has truly struck gold this time." As a sixth-level powerhouse, Xiao Zhuhe understood the value of a talented warrior better than most. His years as president had left him feeling stagnant, but now, with the discovery of Lu Sheng, he saw a glimmer of hope for advancement. If I can nurture Lu Sheng properly, the rewards he brings may elevate me once more, he contemplated aloud, his mind racing with possibilities. Xiao Zhuhe's motivations were clear. He wasn't driven by a thirst for power but rather by the resources and opportunities it could provide. "Arrange a car for me immediately. I want to visit Lu Sheng's family personally and express my gratitude for raising such an exceptional son," he instructed, his tone decisive. "Yes, President," the secretary responded, already moving to fulfill his request. Ni Shuang paced anxiously at the entrance of the martial arts hall, her irritation evident in her movements. A young man in a Hongchan martial arts uniform approached, panting. "Senior Sister Ni. Any news?" Ni Shuang's eyes sparked with anticipation and urgency as she inquired. The young man nodded, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Yes. His name is Lu Sheng, a student at Baihei No. 3 Middle School, in his third year." "Good." Ni Shuang's fist clenched with joy, her expression elated. Observing her reaction, the young man grew curious. "Senior Sister Ni, why are you seeking out this Lu Sheng? Did he offend you? There's no need to escalate matters." "Shut up." Ni Shuang snapped, cutting him off sharply. She refused to entertain the notion of seeking vengeance on a mere child. The young man fell silent, recognizing Ni Shuang's authority as the daughter of the gym owner and a formidable martial artist in her own right. Suddenly, Ni Shuang's phone rang, breaking the tension. "Understood," Ni Shuang replied, her expression shifting to one of complexity. She swiftly regained her composure and strode out of the hall. "Take me to Lu Sheng's house and gather some gifts for his family," she instructed, her demeanor resolute. "Make sure they're suitable for parents, elders, and a young girl aged 16 or 17. And don't skimp on the expense." Lu Sheng was abruptly awakened by a sharp knock on the door, prompting him to exit the drain clock earlier than expected. His younger sister, Lu King, urgently called out from the other side, her tone betraying a hint of anxiety. Observing the unusual behavior of his sister, Lu Sheng couldn't help but speculate about the reason behind her urgency. Her gentle knocking and direct address as brother raised suspicions, especially coupled with her mention of someone looking for him. With these thoughts swirling in his mind, Lu Sheng tidied up quickly and made his way out of his room. Lu Sheng's modest home layout allowed him to see the living room as soon as he stepped out. To his surprise, he found his parents, Lu Dahoi and Zheng Yufan, accompanied by two unfamiliar guests, a man and a woman. Lu Dahoi and Zheng Yufan beckoned him over eagerly, their expressions a mix of confusion and excitement. As Lu Sheng approached, his parents introduced the guests. The man was President Xiao Zhuhe of the Baihei Martial Artists Association, and the woman was identified as Miss Ni from the Hongchan Martial Arts School. Ni Shuang, the young woman, greeted Lu Sheng warmly, reminiscing about their previous encounter. Maintaining his composure, Lu Sheng exchanged pleasantries with the guests. Despite the buzz surrounding his recent test results, he remained composed and unaffected. Both Ni Shuang and Xiao Zhuhe were impressed by his demeanor, recognizing him as a rare talent in Baihei City. When the conversation turned to the purpose of their visit, Ni Shuang gracefully deferred to Xiao Zhuhe, acknowledging his authority in the matter. With a warm smile, Xiao Zhuhe revealed their intention to present Lu Sheng with an official warrior badge on behalf of the Baihei City Warrior Association. The news left Lu Sheng intrigued, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. Meanwhile, Lu Dahoi and Zheng Yufan watched in astonishment, struggling to comprehend the unexpected honor bestowed upon their son. Xiao Zhuhe chuckled as he spoke. It's not every day we come across such an outstanding high school student like you, Lu Sheng. That's why I've taken the liberty to personally commend you for your achievements. With a flourish, Xiao Zhuhe produced a gleaming brass badge from his pocket and presented it to Lu Sheng with a warm smile. On behalf of the Baihei City Martial Artists Association, I'm pleased to inform you that you've successfully passed the assessment as a second-level official martial artist. From this moment forward, you'll hold the esteemed title of a second-level official martial artist certified by the Warrior Association. Pausing briefly, Xiao Zhuhe continued in a kindly tone, your exceptional performance in the Combat Power Index test has far surpassed the expectations for a second-level warrior. As such, we've decided to award you with a monthly martial arts allowance based on the standard for a third-level warrior. Additionally, in recognition of your extraordinary talent, our association is delighted to present you with a bonus of 1 million yuan. We hope this will further motivate you to continue your martial arts journey and achieve even greater heights. The weight of Xiao Zhuhe's words hit Lu Dahoi and Zheng Yufan like a thunderbolt, leaving them dumbfounded. Their mouths hung open in disbelief, their minds struggling to process the staggering news. Lu Sheng, a level 2 warrior? Enjoying the privileges of a level 3 warrior? And a 1 million yuan bonus? It felt like a surreal dream to the astonished couple. Meanwhile, Lu Qing's reaction was slightly more composed, though she couldn't hide her astonishment. Lu Sheng, on the other hand, remained remarkably calm. Apart from the generous bonus, everything else was within his expectations. Expressing his gratitude, Lu Sheng accepted the badge and bonus check placed before him. Curious about any potential expectations in return for such generosity, Lu Sheng turned to Xiao Zhuhe for clarification. In response, Xiao Zhuhe revealed an upcoming opportunity, the talent training camp in Dongning Province, where only the most gifted martial arts prodigies are selected to participate. Ni Shuang, seated nearby, interjected cautiously, expressing awareness of the rigorous selection process for the training camp. She recounted a cautionary tale of a former student from the Hongchan martial arts school, who returned from the camp defeated and broken, cautioning Lu Sheng about the risks involved. Despite Ni Shuang's warning, Xiao Zhuhe attempted to persuade Lu Sheng of his immense potential, urging him to seize the opportunity. However, to Ni Shuang's dismay, Lu Sheng remained resolute in his decision to attend the training camp, confident that it was not his limit. Witnessing this exchange, Ni Shuang couldn't help but feel a twinge of frustration. Now, it's time to tell us why you came, Lu Sheng said calmly, fixing his gaze on Ni Shuang. Ni Shuang was caught off guard. In that moment, she sensed a complete change in Lu Sheng's demeanor. Where he was once restrained, there was now a hint of relaxation, akin to a silent lion revealing its fangs inadvertently. Flustered, Ni Shuang felt a slight tension and oppression in her chest but quickly composed herself and spoke, I want to invite you, Lu Sheng, to be an honorary disciple of Hongchan martial arts. Honorary disciple? Lu Sheng frowned, seeking clarification. Ni Shuang hurriedly explained, outlining the perks of such a title, free courses, equipment, personal instruction from her father, and more, all without any binding obligations. She admitted that the title was unconventional but justified it by Lu Sheng's exceptional talent and young age. However, Lu Sheng firmly declined, refusing to accept the implications of being labeled a disciple. Ni Shuang attempted to negotiate, but Lu Sheng stood his ground, unwilling to be associated with any title that might be exploited for prestige. Instead, he suggested the title of honorary member, agreeing to visit the martial arts gym for self-assessment. After some internal struggle, Ni Shuang accepted Lu Sheng's terms in agreeing to the honorary membership. Hongchan Martial Arts will be paying $100,000 per month to Lu Sheng. With this agreement in place, Ni Shuang bid farewell. The house fell into a profound silence, tinged with an air of disbelief. Lu Sheng stole a glance at his parents, who were still examining the badges and checks with a mixture of astonishment and gratitude. He approached his mother, reassuring her that she no longer needed to work nights, which were detrimental to her health, and advised his father to take a break from his strenuous labor, now that their financial situation had improved. With those words, he turned away and departed. To Lu Sheng, the martial artist badge and the 1 million check personally delivered by Xiao Zhuhe seemed to hold no significance at all. A week had passed, yet He Lingsu of Xingshantang Pharmacy remained visibly irritated. Her focus was consumed by a new drug, her time and energy wholly dedicated to its analysis. Day after day, she delved deeper into the pharmacology and ingredients of the mysterious liquid, each discovery more astounding than the last. The tonic, of unknown origin, surpassed all others in its efficacy at strengthening blood, meeting and even exceeding the standards set by the Pharmacists Association for various levels of tonics. With a plethora of additional benefits and minimal side effects, its estimated cost was a mere $5,000. Despite its remarkable properties, searches through the Pharmacists Association's database yielded no relevant information, hinting at its novelty. For He Lingsu, this suggested a groundbreaking new drug, one with epoch-making significance. It explained her stubborn determination, her unwavering focus. Then, a call from Ma Fei interrupted her thoughts. What? She snapped, her irritation evident. I found the master, Ma Fei stammered. What? He Lingsu exclaimed, her interest piqued. Ma Fei's strange expression and pointed gesture directed her attention to the TV in the pharmacy's lobby. A news segment featured an exceptional martial arts prodigy named Lu Sheng, whose combat prowess surpassed even third-level warriors. He was none other than the student Lu Sheng from Baihei No. 3 Middle School. Staring at the screen in disbelief, He Lingsu heard Ma Fei's voice explaining that Lu Sheng, the pharmaceutical master they had been seeking, had once used their dispensing room. What? He Lingsu exclaimed once more, her mind reeling at the revelation. Lu Sheng, a martial arts genius and now, it seemed, a pharmaceutical master. The realization hit her like a whirlwind, leaving her overwhelmed with possibilities. In Shuhai City, atop Wild Fox Mountain, the dense forest hummed with the warning cries of animals sensing a predator's approach. The figure darting through the foliage moved with terrifying speed, causing a ripple of shock in its wake. Lu Sheng, propelled by an otherworldly momentum, hurtled over rivers and ascended the mountain's peak in a relentless sprint. His chest rose and fell in a rhythmic cadence, each breath extending far beyond the capacity of ordinary lungs. His strides resembled cannonballs, covering 7 or 8 meters with each thunderous step. Amidst his exertions, Lu Sheng marveled at the fusion of stellar power into his martial skills and the efficacy of absorbing dream memories. These enhancements had pushed his mastery of body techniques to unprecedented heights, albeit still shy of the prowess of a third-level warrior. Yet, fueled by the natural breathing method, Lu Sheng sustained his pace. Each inhalation seemed to draw energy from the surrounding air, revitalizing his weary muscles and propelling him forward with renewed vigor. Pushing his body to its limits, Lu Sheng tapped into reservoirs of strength previously untapped, surging with vitality even as fatigue threatened to overcome him. Finally, his feet alighted upon a platform at the mountain's summit. Steam rose from his overheated body, emanating a heat far beyond the norm. The rush of blood coursing through his veins was palpable, a testament to the extraordinary feats achieved through his relentless pursuit of physical and martial excellence. Lu Sheng exhaled deeply, feeling a wave of relaxation wash over him. Breakthrough, he exclaimed, clenching his fist as he sensed a significant surge in his blood value. The increase in blood value means my physique has improved, and I can continue practicing with stellar strength, he reasoned aloud, contemplating the implications of his newfound strength. This means my combat effectiveness index will skyrocket again. His mood buoyant, Lu Sheng reflected on the unexpected benefits of his mountain climb. His primary reason for visiting Shuhai City was to gather ingredients for the bone-nourishing pill, with one crucial ingredient requiring fresh picking from Wild Fox Mountain. Little did he anticipate the additional gains, a breakthrough in both blood and stellar strength. As he descended the mountain, a middle-aged man, weathered and lean, approached him, bearing the herbs Lu Sheng had requested. The man, having freshly picked the herbs as agreed, handed over the medicine basket. However, when Lu Sheng mentioned the previously agreed-upon price, the man's demeanor shifted. No, it's 1,000 per plant, and you must buy all the medicine here, he declared, a sly grin creeping across his face. Confounded by this sudden demand, Lu Sheng frowned. Before he could protest, the man and his cohorts began to close in menacingly. Unfazed, Lu Sheng calmly placed his hand on a nearby boulder and, with a display of brute strength, shattered it into pieces. The sudden display of power left the group in stunned silence, their bravado crumbling in the face of Lu Sheng's strength. As the man and his cohorts retreated, begging for mercy, Lu Sheng offered them a lesson in honesty before departing with his herbs, leaving behind a bewildered group in his wake. There were about a dozen boys and girls, roughly the same age as Lu Sheng, lugging suitcases of various sizes. Each of them sported a brass badge on their left chests, indicating their status as first-level warriors. Lu Sheng couldn't help but feel a twinge of regret for leaving his own second-level warrior badge back at home, cherished by his mother Zheng Yufeng. If he had it with him now, he could have flaunted it proudly. Whispers and sidelong glances followed Lu Sheng as he stood among the group. Is he from Baihei City? But didn't the others from Baihei City already enter? Why is he still here? Murmured one. I heard he got in through connections. Couldn't even pass the formal martial arts assessment? No wonder Baihei City always scores low in the province's college entrance exams, speculated another. Despite the chatter, Lu Sheng remained composed, knowing he could easily handle these youngsters with his current strength. When the middle-aged man in military uniform addressed him, there was a hint of something peculiar in his tone, but Lu Sheng followed the group obediently into the base. As they entered, the door slammed shut behind them, chains rattling as it locked from the outside. A sense of unease rippled through the students. The middle-aged man's voice pierced the silence, directing them to the opposite exit for the camp entrance examination. Confusion erupted among the students. Wasn't this just supposed to be an entry ceremony? Why an assessment now? Protested one before a sudden mechanical click interrupted him. The floor beneath them cracked open, and screams filled the air as they tumbled into a narrow passage below. Lu Sheng, however, had anticipated the trap from the moment he stepped into the room. With his mental power providing stability, he landed soundlessly on the ground. As they gathered themselves, they found themselves facing a closed passage with steel walls 50 centimeters thick. It was wide enough for 4 people to walk abreast, with unexpected figures hidden within the walls. The students from Qingyuan City exchanged uneasy glances, while Lu Sheng observed their reactions calmly from a corner, his mental power serving as his vigilant guide. Apparently, this is the so-called induction ceremony, remarked the students in Qingyuan City, his eyebrows displaying a strong sense of pride as he sneered. I thought it would be some special trick, but it turned out to be this? It's boring. Amidst murmurs of discontent, one voice rose above the rest. Lin Xiaoyu, did you know there was something fishy about this camp entrance ceremony? Damn it, they didn't even warn anyone. I just fell down, and now my butt hurts and is about to burst. With disdain evident in his gaze, Lin Xiaoyu glanced at the speaker and retorted, you don't even have the ability to adapt to changes. How dare you call yourself a formal warrior? Attempting to diffuse the tension, a tall, sweet-looking girl stepped forward. Okay, stop arguing. We are all from the same city. We don't want any of our companions to be eliminated. We should quickly find a way to pass this assessment. Another suggested, didn't the person who just let us in say that we have passed the test when we reach the exit? Let's go together as a group. Even if there are any subsequent tests, we will definitely pass. After all, we have 10 first-level formal warriors. Suddenly, attention shifted to Lu Sheng, as somebody stated Lu Sheng should go first as he is not from our city. It's just right. I don't know what dangers there are ahead, so let him be a surprise, one proposed. Agreed. That's a good idea, another chimed in. Unperturbed, Lu Sheng stood up, a calm smile gracing his lips. Lin Xiaoyu, acknowledging his initiative, nodded. Boy from Baihei City, if you behave well later, we may consider giving you a hand in letting you follow us to get through. With calm confidence, Lu Sheng responded, beasts always walk alone, but cattle and sheep only travel in groups. After Lu Sheng's statement, he proceeded into the passage, leaving the teenagers from Qingyuan City in a state of bewilderment. Among them, Lin Xiaoyu reacted swiftly, his face contorted with a mix of shame and rage. Damn, you dare insult me like that? Lin Xiaoyu lunged forward, aiming a punch at Lu Sheng's back. However, before he could make contact, the steel plates lining the passage began to retract, and black shadows emerged from the walls. Startled, Lin Xiaoyu retreated as the mechanized figures materialized, triggering a chain reaction throughout the passage. Within moments, the area was teeming with these imposing, nearly 2-meter-tall machine puppets, casting an oppressive atmosphere. The teenagers from Qingyuan City, including Lin Xiaoyu, wore grim expressions as they recognized the threat before them. These are mechanism puppets, someone exclaimed, their voices tinged with dread. Each puppet, crafted from an unknown alloy, possessed formidable strength and resilience. As the teenagers processed the situation, Lin Xiaoyu seized the opportunity to belittle Lu Sheng's lack of familiarity with mechanism puppets, reveling in his impending misfortune. Meanwhile, the sweet-looking girl stifled a gasp, torn between warning Lu Sheng and avoiding drawing attention to herself. Ignoring the other's skepticism, Lu Sheng calmly advanced toward the mechanized adversaries, prompting a mixture of shock and skepticism among his peers. As the machines punched Lu Sheng, he stopped them with one hand without even moving an inch. The teenagers from Qingyuan City displayed incredulous expressions. Lin Xiaoyu, arms crossed, straightened up in disbelief, wondering if he had seen it incorrectly. Just as Lin Xiaoyu and the others grappled with this astonishing sight, an even more remarkable event unfolded. The sound of mechanical squeezing and collision filled the air as the machine puppet's arms were steadily lifted by Lu Sheng's firm palms. Sparks erupted from the joints, accompanied by harsh noises, as the machine struggled against the unexpected force. Wide-eyed astonishment spread among the onlookers. A voice was heard in disbelief, this guy's strength surpasses that of a first-level machine puppet. Is he even human? Others echoed his shock, struggling to articulate their amazement. A sweet-looking girl covered her mouth with her hands, her eyes reflecting a mixture of shock and awe. As everyone observed, Lin Xiaoyu burst into laughter, shaking his head mockingly. I almost fell for it, he jeered. These are just first-level agency puppets. It makes sense, doesn't it? If there were genuine first-level puppets here, how would anyone manage to pass the assessment? With a dismissive gesture, Lin Xiaoyu began to move forward slowly, his demeanor oozing confidence. If you're still in doubt, then watch and learn how I clear this level. With a flick of his hair, Lin Xiaoyu accelerated suddenly, charging towards the machine puppets ahead with unwavering assurance. His movements were swift as an arrow, reaching the puppets in the blink of an eye, hitting its head in just the next movement. Lin Bash. The power is nearly on par with a second-level warrior, he remarked, unimpressed by its strength but critical of its slow punching speed. The young man outside the passage, observing the shifting lights anxiously, finally reached the entrance. He spotted a slender, handsome figure amidst the wreckage, his arrival met with a mixture of excitement and confusion from Lu Sheng. Finally, you're here, Lu Sheng greeted, his tone tinged with eagerness. Bewildered, the young man's gaze flitted between the broken puppets and Lu Sheng, momentarily stunned by the scene before him. Sensing a sudden chill, he instinctively retreated as a figure leapt into the air before him. Before he could react, a rush of wind preceded a sudden leap by a young figure before him. In a spacious control room, Dong Quangshu diligently reviewed documents while seated at a table. Her dark blue officer's uniform accentuated her figure, exuding elegance even as she worked. Opposite her, a young man sipped coffee, admiring the scene before him with a sigh of contentment. Dong Quangshu, noticing his distraction, requested his assistance with the materials. The young man, evading responsibility, cited his temporary status as an assistant. Reluctantly, Dong Quangshu conceded, knowing his reputation for laziness. As she continued her task, the young man, growing bored, wandered around the room. He inquired about the quality of the talent training camp, to which Dong Quangshu responded with disappointment, citing only 8 candidates meeting their standards. She presented 3 standout profiles, including Charlene, a promising young talent on the brink of greatness. Despite the young man's jests, Dong Quangshu recognized Charlene's potential and designated her for special attention. After sifting through the profiles, the young man's attention was captured by the first file below. Excitedly, he pointed out the exceptional qualities of the candidate, highlighting his striking resemblance and impressive combat prowess. However, Dong Quangshu reminded him of the reason why the candidate was initially selected and subsequently removed. With a knowing look, the young man acknowledged the issue of talent. Dong Quangshu elaborated on the limitations of power type, emphasizing their diminishing effectiveness as martial artists advanced in levels. Despite their early advantages, such talents ultimately paled in comparison to the superior blood values of higher-level warriors. Suddenly, the silence of the command room was shattered by a series of urgent alerts, jolting both Dong Quangshu and Qin Shaojin into action. Frantically, Qin Shaojin accessed Channel 12's data, only to be met with a horrifying discovery. Over 80% of the machine puppets were severely damaged, with more than 15 of them on the brink of being rendered useless. In a rush, Dong Quangshu demanded to see the surveillance footage. As they observed the chaos unfolding on Channel 12, their shock was palpable. The once orderly passage was now a scene of devastation, with shattered machine puppets strewn about like discarded toys. Realizing the immense financial loss incurred by the damage, Dong Quangshu and Qin Shaojin speculated on the unprecedented force responsible for such destruction. Concerned that a high-level warrior might be involved, they pondered the possibility of an intruder among the students. With mounting urgency, Dong Quangshu and Qin Shaojin abandoned their deliberations and hurried to investigate the situation in Channel 12, fearing the worst. Meanwhile, at the assessment hall No. 7. With a violent force, the last machine puppet was thrown to the ground, its chest dented from the impact. Charlene, vigilant, watched as it struggled to its feet, relieved that it ceased its attacks after being knocked down. With this, she knew she had passed the camp entrance examination. Approaching the exit, Charlene paused, sensing a lurking presence behind her. Her intuition warned her of imminent danger, a formidable opponent, likely at least a level 3 warrior. Speculating that this hidden figure was not part of the assessment but rather the supervisor, Charlene opened the exit door and stepped out into the light. To her surprise, she found soldiers in blue uniforms gathered outside, their anxious gazes fixed on another small door nearby. As she observed, the door was pushed open from within, causing tension among the soldiers. Driven by curiosity, Charlene extended her mental power, only to be met with a chilling encounter, an encounter with a boy her age, his face smeared with dried blood. Feeling an intense heat and an unsettling coldness emanating from his eyes, Charlene instinctively recoiled, retreating back into the safety of the small door. As she leaned against the door, her heart racing, Charlene could only think of one thing: the boy she had just encountered was undeniably terrifying. As Dong Quangshu and Qin Shaojin reached Channel 12's door, they found themselves encircled by guards from the training camp. A middle-aged military officer approached Dong Quangshu, reporting quietly that several nearby surveillance cameras had been destroyed, leaving them unaware of the situation inside. Remaining composed, Dong Quangshu instructed for all student information entering Channel 12 to be provided, but then changed her mind abruptly, declining the offer. Confused, the officer complied nonetheless. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed from the exit door of Channel 12, causing tension among the guards. Anticipating trouble, they stood ready to intervene, awaiting orders from their superiors. Contrary to the tension around her, Dong Quangshu's demeanor seemed peculiar. With a focused gaze, she scrutinized the small door, her eyes glinting with an inscrutable intensity, as if attempting to peer through its confines. Just as everyone braced themselves, the small door creaked open, heralding an uncertain turn of events. Out 12 was slowly pushed open from the inside. In the darkness, a figure leaned out, revealing half of his body. Everyone's nerves tensed. But as they caught sight of the figure, they quickly relaxed. The person who emerged was a young man, just a half-grown child. He was handsome, with clear eyebrows and a clean appearance. Fortunately, the tension from earlier dissipated, with some even smiling self-deprecatingly at their initial nerves. However, their expressions soon froze. They witnessed something terrifying, their eyes widening in shock and fear. The boy emerged completely from the darkness, dragging something heavy behind him. With one hand, he casually dropped a body covered in dust and blood that he had pulled from the passage. The body fell to the ground, revealing the face of a young man who had fallen into a coma. A soldier recognized him and stammered, "It's the missing Lieutenant Wang." He was a third-level warrior responsible for supervising Channel 12. Now, this young martial arts expert was being dragged and thrown to the ground like a dead dog. Everyone stood stunned, their minds still reeling. Only Dong Quangshu's expression remained unchanged. Yet, she couldn't deny the shock she felt. Despite having used her mental power to scan the passage, witnessing the scene firsthand still shook her to the core. Even Chen Xiaojin wore a stunned expression. Sensing the unease in the air, Lu Sheng remained silent for a moment before attempting to explain. "He's too powerful." Although he was part of the assessment, he said quietly. A heavy silence enveloped the venue. Dong Quangshu used her psychic powers to gauge Lu Sheng's strength, but she found nothing special in Lu Sheng. After a moment, Dong Quangshu's voice broke the eerie stillness. "Student Lu Sheng from Baihei City, congratulations on passing this camp entrance examination." Lu Sheng was led by a soldier to rest in the camp. Though his expression remained calm, various emotions began to surge within him. He realized he might have misunderstood the nature of the assessment. The sudden appearance of the third-level warrior didn't seem to be part of it. As the soldier guided Sheng Lu to his dormitory, he mentioned it was time for dinner and led him to the cafeteria. The food surprised Lu Sheng. There were over 30 meat dishes, many of which he had never seen before. With unlimited refills, it was perfect for a big eater like him. Ordering a meal for 5, Lu Sheng sat down to eat, astonishing those around him with his appetite. While enjoying his meal, a tall and beautiful girl approached Lu Sheng. She introduced herself as a fellow student participating in the training camp in Baihei City and asked if she could join him. Lu Sheng, recalling her identity, welcomed her. "You are the..." He paused, then affirmed, "Purple headband." The girl, named Yang Yuan, smiled and nodded. During the assessment at the Baihei Martial Arts Association, Yang Yuan, like Lu Sheng, was the youngest among all the assessors. They had exchanged looks a few times, leaving an impression on each other. After observing Lu Sheng eat for a while, Yang Yuan gathered her courage to speak. "Sheng Lu, do you know anything about this talent training camp?" She began to explain to Lu Sheng that Baihei City hadn't sent any representatives for many years, as none of their representatives had been able to pass the assessment. They often had to leave midway due to insufficient points to sustain themselves in the assessment. However, Lu Sheng seemed uninterested in small talk, busy chewing down his food. It was only when he heard about points for sustenance that his interest piqued. Lu Sheng's eating speed slowed down as he became intrigued. It was pointed out that to use the camp's resources, one needed to spend points, training equipment, instructions, tonics, and cultivation methods. Everything required points. Even the delicious food he was enjoying was exclusive military rations, obtained only through points. Until now, only 3 people in the training camp had earned these points, further capturing Lu Sheng's interest. These 3 individuals had passed the assessment to earn points. Cao Yang, a rank 2 martial artist from Yonglin City, possessed the gift of stone skin. Next was Meng Jinhe, a rank 2 martial artist from Donggong City, specializing in speed. The third was Xia Lin, a psychic genius and the strongest in the camp, excelling in mental abilities. Lu Sheng noticed a girl with a cold demeanor walking into the cafeteria, holding a rice bowl. "It's actually her?" he thought, surprised. He remembered this girl well. When he emerged from the passage earlier, it was her who used her mental power to probe him. However, she seemed frightened by him and quickly retreated back into the passage. As if sensing Lu Sheng's gaze, the girl glanced his way. Upon seeing him, she paled visibly, swiftly turning and leaving without hesitation, walking briskly away. "Do you know her?" asked someone nearby, noting Lu Sheng's reaction. "It's common to know her. Many people do." "Xia Lin from Baoding City," they continued. "Though not a second-level warrior, she's a rare spiritual master, even rarer than talented warriors. She's probably the most talented and powerful person in this training camp. I've heard the top management is already paying attention to her. It is said that there is a fourth one, but I guess it is probably false." Yang Yuan continued chattering. In response, Lu Sheng replied casually, "Why do you say the fourth one is fake?" Yang Yuan smiled and explained, "Because the fourth pass was too exaggerated. Some people said that the fourth passer was so powerful that he not only destroyed a bunch of secondary agency puppets but even beat up the examiner in the passage. It was like a man rampaging through the puppets, a demented maniac sending a poor examiner to the hospital. I don't believe that there is such a person." Yang Yuan thought to herself that everyone in the camp was talented, and even Lu Sheng was one among many. She further tried to console Lu Sheng by stating that he could catch up to them only if he trained harder. Unbeknownst to her, several people had already approached her side. Yang Yuan was a little confused, as it was evident that these people were not here for her. The leading officer addressed Lu Sheng, who had been silently accepting Yang Yuan's comfort, with a serious expression. "Classmate Lu Sheng, right? Because you destroyed 18 secondary agency puppets in our base during the camp entrance examination, you also injured a lieutenant officer and left him unconscious in the hospital. Now we are going to ask you some routine questions. Please cooperate with us." The base officer's commanding voice resonated in the huge cafeteria, instantly silencing the previously noisy atmosphere. Almost all the training camp students who were eating froze in their tracks, their expressions frozen and bodies motionless. Some even kept their mouths wide open, food poised halfway to their mouths. It was as if time had come to a standstill, each one seemingly under a spell of paralysis. Among the students, Yang Yuan's expression was particularly exaggerated. She stood frozen in place, her face displaying a vacant look as if a myriad of thoughts raced through her mind. The revelation of Lu Sheng's actions, confirmed by the base officer, shattered her previous dismissals of rumors as nonsense. The realization that Lu Sheng, whom she had been comforting moments before, was the rumored individual left her utterly bewildered. She struggled to find words to describe her inner turmoil, feeling as if she were in a dream where nothing seemed real. Lu Sheng swiftly rose from his seat, glancing at the plates on the table before him. "But I'm not full yet, can you let me pack another one?" he requested. As Lu Sheng and the others departed from the cafeteria, the atmosphere of petrification that had gripped everyone dissipated. The once quiet cafeteria erupted into a frenzy of heated exclamations and discussions. "Holy shit, the rumors are actually true. Someone really destroyed a dozen machine puppets and sent the assessment officer to the hospital." The fourth person in the rumors, Lu Sheng from Baihei City.
Lu Sheng was escorted to the command center to meet the chief instructor. He felt anxious, imagining the high costs of the state-of-the-art machinery he had destroyed. However, Chief Instructor Dong Quangshu appeared unfazed. She clarified that each of the 18 machines he broke were worth millions and were beyond repair, amounting to half the yearly budget of the facility. Despite this, they decided that Lu Sheng would not be held responsible for any damages or for the unconscious examiner. Then, Deputy Chief Instructor Major Qin Xiaojun entered with the 3 talented individuals Yang Yuan had mentioned, all of whom had passed the entrance exam. The first one was Cao Yang from Yonglin City, a second-level warrior with the unique ability of stone skin, enhancing his defense significantly. Next was Meng Jinhao from Donggong City, also a second-level warrior known for his exceptional speed. The third individual was Xia Lin, the only psychic genius of that year, who trembled upon seeing Lu Sheng in the room. Breaking the silence, the chief instructor explained that they were free to follow their own training routines without interference. The staff were there to support them, and they could utilize the facility and its amenities as they saw fit. Simply put, they could even sleep in the dormitory all day if they wanted to. Lu Sheng's expression turned a bit odd as if it was directed towards him. Additionally, they had to earn points to stay at the facility. Everything, from meals to toilet paper, was paid for with points earned. If they couldn't afford it, they'd have to leave. Since only 4 people passed the assessment, Dong Quangshu handed them their reward cards. This thrilled everyone, as it meant they could focus on training instead of worrying about survival. However, they noticed that while they had gold cards with 100 points each, Lu Sheng had a white card, leading them to believe it was empty. On the back of the cards were the costs for basic amenities. For example, a chunk of monster meat cost 5 points, while access to the training room cost 10 points. Instruction from a regular teacher was 30 points, and instruction from Dong Quangshu herself was 100 points. Lu Sheng only needed monster meat since he would spend most of his time in the dream world. He shocked everyone by stating that all he needed was the meal ration, as everything else was useless to him. This was true, as there was nothing Dong Quangshu could teach him, given his extensive knowledge database from the future. At that moment, the deputy chief instructor revealed that Lu Sheng's card held 1,000 points. Cao Yang couldn't accept that Dong Quangshu was favoring Lu Sheng. He felt disappointed, believing that the training center should support all talented individuals equally. The other two were terrified, reminding Cao Yang of how Lu Sheng had defeated 18 level 2 machines and a level 3 trainer. Despite their fears, Cao Yang dismissed their concerns as rumors. He wanted to test Lu Sheng himself, eager to showcase his stone-like skin and challenge Lu Sheng to attack him with full force. Cao Yang believed he could handle a physical attack easily with his defensive body type and was confident he could claim Lu Sheng's 1,000-point card once he defeated him. Qin Xiaojun attempted to caution Cao Yang against provoking Lu Sheng, but Dong Quangshu intervened, eager to witness Lu Sheng's abilities firsthand. Cao Yang, in a taunting manner, challenged Lu Sheng to unleash his full strength while bolstering his own defenses with his stone-like skin. However, Lu Sheng was already disinterested in the confrontation. With a mere flick, he sent Cao Yang flying several meters into the wall, causing considerable damage to the heavily reinforced concrete. Concerned about the repercussions of the damaged wall, Lu Sheng worried he might be held responsible. Both Qin Xiaojun and Dong Quangshu were disappointed by Cao Yang's lack of strength, as they had not anticipated him to be so weak. Meng Jinhe and Xia Lin were both shocked and scared of Lu Sheng. With the commotion settled, Lu Sheng requested to leave. However, Dong Quangshu was intrigued to know about his routine and future plans, especially since he held a 1,000-point card and could receive 10 lessons from her for it. But Lu Sheng showed no interest in taking lessons. Qin Xiaojun was curious about what could be more important than receiving guidance from the camp's commanding officers. Lu Sheng calmly stated that he was going to bed and preferred not to be disturbed, shocking both Meng Jinhe and Xia Lin. Qin Xiaojun couldn't believe what he was hearing and chuckled, recalling his earlier comment about sleeping all day if you have enough points. Dong Quangshu, however, felt disappointed. Lu Sheng retired to his private dorm room to sleep, which concerned Dong Quangshu as she didn't want to see talent go to waste. Reflecting on their time at the training camp, they recalled Xiang Peng, a physically gifted student who dominated over 20 talented warriors that year and earned the title of king. However, they also remembered that physical prowess alone wouldn't guarantee success in the long run. Skills like observation, judgment, tactics, strategy, and experience were equally important. They realized that Lu Sheng's future might follow a similar path. Lu Sheng found himself in a fierce battle with a dominating zombie, struggling to gain the upper hand. Realizing he needed to act fast, Lu Sheng impaled the zombie's left leg with a spear before employing the stellar body technique. As he absorbed the zombie's power, Lu Sheng discovered that it was a level 6 warrior, requiring all of his physical strength to handle. Despite the challenges, these fights proved invaluable for gaining combat experience and improving his vitality. This was a unique gift from the dream world, allowing him to enhance various martial arts techniques such as fist, palm, leg, spear, and sword. Reflecting on his progress, Lu Sheng acknowledged that it's rare for someone to excel in every aspect, but his situation was different. By absorbing the life experiences of the defeated zombies, he was accumulating over a century's worth of knowledge. Excited by the prospect of completing his martial arts journey, Lu Sheng was only concerned about his psychic power. Although it had saved him from the zombie, he realized its limitations against higher-ranking opponents. Deciding to focus on enhancing his psychic abilities, Lu Sheng diligently refined his mind, leading to a breakthrough that felt like a surge of electricity coursing through his body. He got curious to check his stats and commanding the Fire Seed program to show his progress. Lu Sheng, a male martial artist, who lived for 156 years. He achieved remarkable feats in his lifetime, starting as a second-level martial artist at the young age of 18, causing a stir in Baihei City. With the recommendation of the Baihei City Wushu Association, he excelled in the talent training camp of Dongning Province, securing the top position. He furthered his achievements by entering Dongning Wuhan University, ranking first in the city, province, and 53rd in the country. His martial arts prowess continued to grow, reaching the 6th-level warrior rank at the age of 40 and ascending to a 7th-level grandmaster at 65. In July 452 of Budo, he succumbed to an old injury at the age of 156. With the revelation of his 7th grade master status and level 3 authority, Lu Sheng's eyes sparkled with excitement. This new advancement marked a significant change in his future, propelling him into the realm of a 7th-level grandmaster during his lifetime. With his newfound 3rd-level authority, Lu Sheng was delighted and wasted no time in instructing the Fire Seed. He requested follow-up exercises for star body refining technique, natural breathing method, and crystal conception thoughts. This time, he didn't face rejection due to insufficient permissions. Shortly after, 3 exercises were located and presented to Lu Sheng. Stellar Body Refining Technique, Advanced Chapter, crafted by Wang He, an 11th level powerhouse of the Wuming, and included in the Fire Plan. Natural breathing method, advanced, devised by Yang Yizhou, an 11th level powerhouse of the Martial Arts League, and integrated into the Fire Plan. Crystal visualization technique, advanced edition, created by Duan Yifeng, an 11th level powerhouse of the Wuming League, and incorporated into the Fire Seed Plan. Additionally, Lu Sheng gained access to another exercise called Divine Illumination of the King of Hell, crafted by Duan Yifeng, an 11th level powerhouse of the Wuming League, and also incorporated into the Fire Seed Plan. Lu Sheng's assessment of this exercise was nothing short of awe-inspiring. Unlike typical combat skills, this technique was specifically tailored for psychic mentalists. Its core purpose was to construct another body within the warrior, a body entirely woven from spiritual power. This mental clone comprised muscle fibers, cells, and even genes, with the sole objective of amplifying the entire body. The first level of divine illumination focused on using mental power to strengthen organs and enhance vitality. While Lu Sheng had previously improved his combat power with other techniques, divine illumination promised to elevate his qi and blood values, thus boosting all his stats. Taking a deep breath, Lu Sheng attempted to calm the turmoil within his heart. I've underestimated the wisdom crystallized over 10,000 years in martial arts. Just thinking about creating such a cultivation method now is daunting, Lu Sheng mused, firmly holding onto the name Duan Yifeng in his heart. The individual who could conceive both crystal conception and divine illumination deserved his utmost admiration. It's rare for a civilization to produce such a figure. Even among the 11th level powerhouses, Duan Yifeng should be regarded as an absolute pinnacle, Lu Sheng reflected. Yet, even a powerhouse like him couldn't prevent the collapse of human civilization. With a silent nod, Lu Sheng switched off the optical brain and began practicing directly in the dream space. He had many tasks ahead and a long journey to traverse. Every minute and second counted, and none could afford to be wasted. 1 month passed, and Lu Sheng focused on mastering advanced techniques. He stayed in his room, only eating and training. He didn't care about training camps or special rooms like everyone else did. Meanwhile, Xia Lin trained in the psychic room, improving her skills with star cones. Dong Quangshu was impressed by Xia Lin's progress controlling 3 star cones in just a month. She explained that mastering 6 star cones would elevate Xia Lin to rank 1 mentalist. Xia Lin was grateful for Dong Quangshu's guidance, but Dong Quangshu sensed Xia Lin's fear and worried it could hinder her growth. Xia Lin couldn't shake off the fear of Lu Sheng's demoniac eyes and asked Dong Quangshu for help. The solution seemed to be defeating or killing the one she feared to overcome her trauma. However, Xia Lin couldn't imagine beating Lu Sheng. Despite this, Dong Quangshu was confident in Xia Lin's abilities, considering her rapid growth. Xia Lin realized that Lu Sheng had been inactive for a month and believed she could defeat him now. As Dong Quangshu headed back to her room, she bumped into the deputy chief and, "Let me give you a hand." A girl entered, seeing Yang Yuan scrubbing away, so she joined in without hesitation. "Thanks." Yang Yuan paused, wiping sweat from her brow, and smiled gratefully at the girl. "What's up? Didn't you help me before? Let's finish this quickly, or we'll be up late tonight." The girl sighed and got to work. Plunging the chamber, but her mind was consumed with thoughts of Lu Sheng and what he might be doing. In a room with glass walls, a strong figure stood quietly. He was a young man of 18 or 19, with dark skin and an ordinary appearance. Yet, there was a hint of determination and ferocity in his expression. Despite his stillness, he seemed to be under immense pressure, his muscles trembling slightly. Sweat dripped down his body, soaking his clothes. After about 4 minutes, he ended the exercise and exited the room. A boy waiting outside handed him a dry white towel, which he accepted casually. As he wiped the sweat from his body, he asked, "How long did I last this time?" 3 minutes and 52 seconds. The boy replied eagerly, admiration clear on his face. Cao Yang, from King Zhao, frowned. The boy beside him admired, "Cao Yang, if you keep working this hard, you'll soon master the quadruple gravity. Who in the training camp will be able to challenge you then?" "A third-level warrior?" Cao Yang muttered, lost in thought. Once he snapped out of it, Cao Yang turned to the boy and asked, "Do you know what Lu Sheng has been up to lately?" "He's still in his room, sleeping and eating. No one has seen him train even once," the boy replied. Remembering his defeat against Lu Sheng, Cao Yang grinned, determined to surpass him. A turtle can surpass a rabbit if it sleeps. Feeling disappointed about Lu Sheng's 1,000 points at the entrance ceremony, Cao Yang suddenly felt a rush of air as someone swiftly passed him. The boys agreed that Lu Sheng either didn't know or was too full of himself and might end up harming himself. Suddenly, the gravity alert sounded, and the boys stared at Lu Sheng in anticipation, ready for a show. However, they were shocked when Lu Sheng didn't respond. Just as one of the boys was about to express his thoughts, they saw Lu Sheng raise his hand and deliver a powerful punch. The fist moved too fast to be seen clearly, leaving everyone stunned. Was that the sound of fists breaking through the air? One of the boys exclaimed, astonished. Another added, seriously. Even I struggle to move in double gravity, and this guy's making it sound easy? At that moment, passers-by, including Xia Lin, who had just returned from her lesson. After observing the stunned expressions of everyone, Xia Lin looked through the one-way mirror of the gravity chamber and saw Lu Sheng performing a handstand on 2 fingers under 4 times gravity. Cao Yang couldn't believe Lu Sheng's strength, thinking it impossible to even consider defeating him. Lu Sheng pressed the plus button, increasing the gravity to 5 times its normal level. This caught the attention of the entire campus, with students rushing to the gravity room to witness the extraordinary event. Outside the training room, a crowd gathered, gasping in amazement as they saw the increased gravity. The small room's door was soon packed with people, while more continued to rush in from the entrances. The sudden increase in pressure weighed heavily on Lu Sheng, making his body feel as if it had plunged into a quagmire, becoming increasingly difficult to move. This pressure is intense. Lu Sheng's eyes lit up, and he took a deep breath. Now, I can test my new abilities. Instantly, Lu Sheng's breathing changed. 5 times the gravity? Lu Sheng set the gravity to 5 times its normal level. Oh my, I'd be crushed if I went in there. This is insane. Cao Yang, did you hear that? Cao Yang, momentarily stunned by the discussions, pretended not to hear and instead peered into the room. At that moment, Lu Sheng activated the natural breathing method, and went to the panel, increasing the gravity even further.
Everyone stood shocked and mesmerized, unable to comprehend what was unfolding before their eyes. Lu Sheng activated the natural breathing method, boosting his combat power to 120% in any environment. Wanting to push his limits further, Lu Sheng increased the gravity of the chamber. Onlookers were astounded, thinking he had reached 5 times the gravitational force and was about to give up. However, they were shocked when Lu Sheng increased the gravity even more. In the command room, Dong Quangshu expressed concern as students were dropping out. 2 more were leaving the camp that day. Qin Shaojin reassured her, saying it was good that those who relied solely on their parents' wealth were leaving. If they can't handle the challenges of a training camp, how will they fare against real monsters on the battlefield? He reasoned. They won't last a second and would be easily massacred. Comforting her, he reassured her not to take everything so seriously, explaining that the current batch of trainees is quite talented, with over 80% likely to complete the training camp. Their attention shifted to the gravity chamber, where someone was breaking a record. They anticipated Cao Yang achieving 4 times gravitational force but were stunned to see Lu Sheng practicing at 8 times gravitational force. Dong Quangshu's shock was evident as she dropped the glass in her hand, her expression becoming increasingly strange as she looked at the screen. Despite this, Dong Quangshu smiled confidently, stating that Lu Sheng's return was a positive development. Lu Sheng pondered silently, realizing that the multi-gravity environment wasn't about actual combat but rather tested the warrior's blood, physique, and willpower. He decided to test his new technique, Divine Illumination, which created an invisible shield around his heart, boosting his vitality by 10% and allowing him to withstand higher levels of gravity more effectively. As Lu Sheng stretched his body under the gravitational force, he felt his mental power slowly depleted to 10 times its normal strength, shocking bystanders who questioned his sanity. The pressure was so intense that even those outside the chamber felt it, causing them to kneel and cracking the thick glass. Inside, Lu Sheng struggled to stand and fell to the ground, feeling the terrifying pressure on every bone in his body. His blood vessels started clotting, and it took all his strength just to stay conscious under 10 times gravity, a challenge beyond his usual limits. But driven by his determination to change the future, Lu Sheng knew he had to push himself beyond what seemed possible. Slowly, he rose from his hands and knees, ignoring the intense pressure forcing everyone else to the ground. With sheer willpower, he switched off the machine and left, oblivious to the crowd around him. All he could think about was the wasted points he spent booking the room for 3 hours. Receiving a notification, he discovered he'd earned around 4,000 points for breaking the gravitational room record. Bystanders were shocked, knowing how hard it is to earn points, especially with the increasing difficulty of buying meat. Despite this, he felt satisfied with the result and was ready for the next challenge. He walked through the crowd, ignoring them completely. Yang Yan felt Lu Sheng's dominating presence, realizing he stood above all, feeling like a tiger among sheep. A friend remarked that Lu Sheng was a strength type, which shocked him. How could he break the gravitational record of Chao, who was a defense type? Yang Yang was surprised too. She expected him to go to his dorm, but instead, he headed to the Footwork and Moments training room where Meng Jinhe from Donggong City had just completed his training. The training session ended, and the completion rate for the second stage reached 87%. Expecting praise and admiration from those outside, Meng Jinhe was surprised to find the area empty. The usual crowd had vanished. Perplexed, he wondered what happened. Meng Jinhe was a little puzzled. Meng Jinhe pulled back a boy wearing a dark hoodie. He smiled and glanced at the display screen outside the training room, saying, "Today's going well and I've made a lot of progress." Wanting to mention that he had completed 87% of his training, Meng Jinhe was ignored by the boy, who hurriedly said, "Since you're done, come over here quickly." Feeling frozen in place, Meng Jinhe didn't know how to respond. He watched as the boy walked away and noticed a large group of people gathered nearby. They were by a footwork training room, separated from Meng Jinhe by 4 or 5 other training rooms, and the area was bustling with activity. Meng Jinhe wondered aloud, could someone be trying to break my record? A nearby person quickly replied, "Is it Lu Sheng? The one from Baihei City?" Momentarily stunned, Meng Jinhe smiled and retorted, "You don't really think Lu Sheng can break my record, do you? That's crazy." Receiving a strange look from the person who answered him, Meng Jinhe felt puzzled. Lu Sheng, after grasping the rules, activated the machine. Almost instantly, red laser beams shot out from the wall towards him. "So, I just need to dodge these beams, right?" Lu Sheng adjusted his body slightly, skillfully avoiding the passing red lines. As he looked around, Lu Sheng noticed numerous small holes covering the walls of the training room. It seemed each hole could emit light, adding to the challenge of agility training. But predicting the direction of the light isn't a challenge for me, Lu Sheng mused. With his immense mental strength, he could sense the movement of every laser probe, anticipating the path of each beam before it even emerged. It felt almost like cheating. Standing in the room's center, Lu Sheng calmly moved his body, effortlessly dodging the incoming beams. He seemed relaxed, as if he were simply doing morning exercises in a park rather than undergoing rigorous training. Outside the training room, a group of observers exchanged bewildered glances. They looked at each other and saw the profound shock reflected in their eyes. It was incredibly astonishing. How did he manage that? Someone couldn't help but ask. No one had an answer. Even Meng Jinhe, who always boasted about his physical prowess and confidence, stood dumbfounded. Entering the footwork training room, anyone would be on edge, trembling, and highly nervous. The room was filled with tens of thousands of laser probes, and no one knew which ones would emit light next. A slight touch from the light meant failure, halting the training immediately and moving to the next stage. "Are you sure it's his first time in the footwork training room?" Meng Jinhe questioned the boys around him incredulously. One of them nodded with a complex expression, confirming, "Yes, we all went in together." Meng Jinhe fell silent, his mind filled with doubt as he watched the figure calmly moving in the room under the mysterious lights. Just then, someone remarked, "The first stage is nearly complete." Before their words could sink in, a beep sounded, and words appeared on the small display outside the room, indicating readiness to enter the second stage of training. The group remained silent. Qin Shaojin watched Lu Sheng on the monitor, amazed at his agility training skills. How did this kid do it? Is this really his first time? He wondered aloud. It's like he's done it hundreds of times before. Dong Qingshu also observed the screen, occasionally glancing up. She had a suspicion about Lu Sheng's behavior but dismissed it quickly. "He must have excellent battle intuition," she remarked. "His combat skills are impressive, and his instincts are sharp." Qin Shaojin nodded in agreement. "His fighting instinct is remarkable." Curious, Dong Qingshu wanted to test Lu Sheng's psychic energy again, but Qin Shaojin interrupted her, causing her to withdraw her power. She pondered why she felt the need to test him again when she had already done so once and confirmed his psychic abilities. Lu Sheng was already at 62% completion of the level 2 foot movement exercise, impressing onlookers with his rapid progress. Dong Qingshu remarked on his excellent reflexes and physical control, noting how effortlessly he transitioned to level 2. She was curious to see how far he could push himself. As level 2 concluded, level 3 presented a greater challenge. Multiple balls were hurled at Lu Sheng from all directions, while laser barriers obstructed his path. Despite the difficulty, Lu Sheng focused on dodging the obstacles, impressing Dong Qingshu with his agility. Even seasoned warriors at ranks 4 and 5 hadn't displayed such skill on the battlefield. Dong Qingshu admitted she had only managed to complete 25% of level 2. Meanwhile, Lu Sheng concentrated on evading the lasers, struggling to keep up. Eventually, he activated the breath of wind technique, seemingly vanishing from view. He moved so quickly that they couldn't see Lu Sheng with their eyes. In just a few minutes, he completed level 3. Dong Qingshu decided to call it a day, impressed that Lu Sheng finished the 10x gravity chamber and level 3 footwork. However, Lu Sheng wasn't done yet. He wanted to try level 4 foot movement. Qin Shaojin was shocked, wondering why Lu Sheng, who had trained for so many years, was just starting level 4. The mechanical disc created barriers, limiting his movement. Lu Sheng had already completed 30% of the 4th stage, knowing he had reached maximum speed with the breath of wind technique. He activated divine illumination, increasing his perception and awareness. It felt like time had stopped, and Lu Sheng could move freely, dodging effortlessly. This energy transformation was rare, achievable only by top psychic mentalists. Dong Quangshu was shocked when the glass door broke, revealing Lu Sheng's psychic abilities. She attacked him to test his skills, unaware he was already in the footwork training room. Lu Sheng swiftly pushed her away, surprising Dong Quangshu with his power. She realized Lu Sheng was a formidable psychic mentalist, possibly even more powerful than her. Lu Sheng, however, knew his limits. His psychic energy drained, and he decided to quit halfway through level 4. He let himself be hit by the light, showing he had completed 56% of level 4 and was now faster than 97% of martial artists. Dong Quangshu was shocked, while Ming Jinhe couldn't believe how easily Lu Sheng surpassed his score. Lu Sheng, unfazed by his surroundings, pondered the 3% of people stronger than him in footwork. Congratulating Lu Sheng on his record-breaking feats in both the gravitational room and the psychic training room, Dong Quangshu inquired about his plans. Did he want to continue in the psychic training room? Done for the day, Lu Sheng's only desire was to eat delicious food. Heading towards the cafeteria once more shocked Dong Quangshu. It was the second time she received an unexpected answer from Lu Sheng. Last time, he went to sleep, and now, he wanted to eat. Summoned to the command center to meet Dong Quangshu, Lu Sheng's blood level and vitality piqued their curiosity. Qin Shaojin offered a normal syringe for blood testing, but Lu Sheng explained he couldn't pierce his skin with it. So, Dong Quangshu retrieved the golden blood-collecting needle she kept close to her bosom. Dong Quangshu and Qin Shaojin watched as the display screen showed a value of 123.651. Qin Shaojin sighed, remarking that he hadn't seen such a young third-level warrior in nearly a decade. Dong Quangshu's eyes held a hint of surprise, though her expression remained composed. She suggested testing Lu Sheng's combat power. Lu Sheng confidently approached the equipment for testing combat power, his eyes ablaze with determination. With a deep breath, he activated his technique, Breath of Flame, causing his chest to feel like it was on fire. A loud boom echoed as the screen displayed a value of 271,920. Qin Shaojin was stunned by the score, recalling how Lu Sheng had reached the combat power of a 5th-level martial artist. He praised Lu Sheng as a remarkable talent, congratulating him on graduating from the training camp and granting him the freedom to pursue his own path. But Dong Quangshu wanted to try something else. She brought out an instrument and explained, "This is a tool developed by the Psychiatrists' Association for testing spiritual strength professionally." Dong Quangshu gently placed her hand on a raised light yellow hexagonal crystal in the instrument. This is called an energy crystal. It's a special crystal discovered in the Ansterla Canyon of the Lion Country over 100 years ago. It has a strong affinity for spiritual power and was later developed to test the spiritual power of a psychiatrist. It measures the strength during the test by concentrating and pouring part of your mental power into it. The cube displayed a psychic power of 143.2, with a psychic energy purity index of 4.2. Qin Shaojin was proud as it showed improvement from the last test by a whole point. She then handed the cube to Lu Sheng, saying, "If you claim that Lu Sheng has half your strength, I'll believe it, not weaker than you. I really can accept it." Quiet. Dong Quangshu shot Qin Shaojin a stern look, silencing his murmurs. She coldly instructed, "Don't disrupt the test." Meanwhile, Lu Sheng followed Dong Quangshu's guidance, infusing mental power into the light yellow crystal in his hand. The crystal emitted a soft, fluorescent glow, devoid of any warmth. Despite its coldness, it felt as though Lu Sheng held an unmeltable icicle. Shortly after, 2 values appeared on the instrument, prompting Dong Quangshu and Qin Shaojin to glance up in anticipation. Their expressions instantly turned incredulous, as if they had witnessed a miracle. "What's happening?" Dong Quangshu exclaimed, unable to contain her shock. Fixated on the numerical values, Dong Quangshu's widened eyes betrayed her disbelief. Mental strength, 113.56T read the first value, confirming her prior observations of Lu Sheng's formidable spiritual prowess. However, it was the second value that truly astonished her. Mental purity, 20.3. This revelation left Dong Quangshu dumbfounded. Lu Sheng's mental purity surpassed hers by 5-fold. The implications were staggering. To match his purity, Dong Quangshu would need to compress and refine her mental power 5 times over. But was such a feat even possible? With this, the chapter concludes. Don't miss out on the next installment. Hit that subscribe button and join us for the continuation of Lu Sheng's remarkable story.